Mic check. Mic check. Oh, and he never shuts up. Never, except for on the weekends where I shut up. Happy Monday, everybody. Good to see you. Good to be seen. Ooh, need to adjust myself in the camera there. There we go. That's a little better. I hope you guys had a good weekend. I had a phenomenal weekend. We continue to have an incredibly mild summer here in Phoenix after a hot start. We've had multiple days under 110 degrees, which we call cool out here. Sorry about the hat guess there. Not blue. What I don't even know what you call this color. How would you describe this color here? I don't know how burnt is this burnt orange? Is this like a Texas burnt orange? Might be burnt orange. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, we were right on that. Let me pull up the TikTok chat here as well. I forgot to pop that out. It's not loading in here. Weird thing with the TikTok chat, it doesn't load all the way. I'll just get like some comments, but here we go. I think like 3 or 4 days in a row now on TikTok. As a reminder, if you're on TikTok, make sure you get those likes up, shares up, and make sure you're gifting, and that way we can keep doing this on TikTok every day. Otherwise, welcome everybody on YouTube, Twitch, maybe a couple people on Facebook and Twitter as well. Wherever you are and however you may be listening, thanks for making us part of your day. Michigan is experiencing corn sweat. It's hot as hell. What, corn sweat? This is a real thing? What is corn sweat? What is corn sweat? This is a real thing you guys are talking about here? It is. When it comes to Missouri summers, any lifelong resident will tell you it's not the heat, it's the humidity. No thanks. I'm not going to end Springfield news leader. And let's see, what is corn sweat? Corn sweat refers to the process known as evapotranspiration. Corn plants, like other plants, absorb water through their roots to be used for growth and photosynthesis. Any excess moisture is then released as vapor via tiny pores in their leaves called stomata into the atmosphere. In states where there are hundreds of millions of acres of corn and soybean crops like Missouri, corn sweat can release an incredible amount of water vapor into the air, making already muggy days even muggier. Oh no. Oh no. An average acre of corn gives off about 3 to 4,000 gallons of water each day. USDA recorded about 3.45 million acres of corn in Missouri in 2024. So if we do the math, that's a staggering 10.35 to 13.8 billion gallons of water is pumped into the atmosphere each day through the state just by corn alone. That's crazy. That's 10% of the moisture in the air. That's not insignificant. All right. Well, hey, listen. Sorry, all you guys in the Midwest. That sucks. I didn't know about corn sweats. I don't think we have that. We're moving into monsoon season, so we get like a regular humidity. Oh, I need to jump in BC here with Jen. There we go. And then Jen, do you want to check the audio here on the VC? Make sure it's good.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. I can hear you with all the excitement in your voice.
I think that's the first thing I've said all day. So yeah.
Well, how do you feel about that I'm the first person you talk to most days? How do you feel about that?
True. That is true.
But how do you feel about it?
I mean, it could be worse.
All right. Thanks, Jen. All right.
So you're talking about weather. Where I live, it's usually hotter than Satan's paint.
I don't think you get to say that. How hot does it get there?
It can get up to like 110, between 100 and 110.
Okay.
Like,
do you get humidity?
No.
No humidity?
Yeah. I mean, not that no.
Yeah, your average daily high, it's looking like, is like 86 in the summer. You don't get
right?
And it's not even that humid.
No, that's right now. It's been cold. It's been cool. It's never this cool. It's bizarre.
Well, there we go. global cooling. Cue the people in the chat criticizing climate change.
It's not real. Well, since I'm here, like Jay mentioned, we are crowdfunded. That gift goes in the top left-hand corner. Cash App, PayPal, Super Chats. I'll go towards knocking out that goal. And if you haven't subscribed to us yet, why not?
That's a good point. That's a good point.
All right, let it go.
That was it from Jen this morning. All right, everybody, let's jump right into it. This summer is going to be kind of interesting. I know that a lot of established news organizations and content creators take kind of August off. So we'll see how August goes. A lot of times there's not a great deal of news coming out during August just because Congress isn't in session. They're all taking vacations. But I guess lucky or unlucky for us, we've got Donald Trump, and he's never going to stop talking, and he's never going to stop doing insane things. And so I'm guessing we'll have plenty to talk about. And there's a whole bunch to talk about. Trump went to Europe over the weekend, and we got plenty of stuff to talk about there. But first, I wanted to cover this story. Jackie tagged me in this on Twitter. This is apparently a new change to ICE's rules and ICE detentions. One of the things that we've consistently said is that there's no end to a divide. When you go down the road of fascism, which we're doing, there's no end to the divide. Like there will never be an end to the amount of people that we want to get rid of, or the amount of people that we want to separate from each other. And also keep in mind that we don't know a great deal about how ICE is spending their money. We know that there's multiple accounts of independent contractors, bounty hunters who are allegedly being co-opted by ICE, and they're getting paid by the person, and they also have quotas, and so they're running down as many people as they possibly can. We've seen time and time again ICE agents on hot mics talking specifically about their quotas and talking specifically about their bonuses. And this from early July in San Francisco is devastating.
Our cameras were rolling on July 2nd when two women were...
Hey, D, keep that energy. Watch this, D. And you just let me know if you want to keep that energy here. If I were you, I would not keep that energy after watching this video, but we'll see about that.
Walked out of immigration court in San Francisco in handcuffs. One of them, an employee of Pivot Interiors in Santa Clara. Christy Nadeau with Pivot Interiors tells us she even double-checked the woman's legal status with the federal database called E-Verify. Everything turned out clean, with a work permit valid through 2029 and no criminal history.
So these are not illegal immigrants. These are hardworking people. These are good people. They're not criminals. And we have to do something about this. We have to make people aware that this is happening.
And the numbers show this is not an isolated case. Our investigative unit discovered that in June of this year, the number of California...
I'm curious about those Republicans in the chat saying this is what you voted for. When was the time that Donald Trump said that he was going to start deporting people who are here legally? Is that what you guys are saying? Like, were you lying when you said you just wanted to get rid of people here illegally? Just wondering what you're talking about there. I see a lot of you bragging about this, like this is what I voted for. You voted for ICE to go round up legal immigrants now too, people who are here working and are here working legally, who are paying into our system. That's what you voted for.
Immigrants detained by ICE with no criminal convictions or pending charges reflected a 2,000% spike compared to last year. 80 arrests last June to 1,606 this year.
With no criminal record or pending charges. This is what you voted for. A bunch of non-criminals being rounded up and thrown in detention centers. That's what you voted for. I like that. Keep the energy.
They've expanded the definition of what constitutes an arriving alien to include anyone that's been in the country for less than 2 years.
As ICE has increasingly started detaining people at routine immigration hearings, a growing number of immigrants say they're considering not showing up. But immigration attorney Andrew Newcomb says immigrants should not ignore their court hearings. Instead, he suggests that at least 10 days before that hearing, they ask the judge for a continuance or ask to appear via video call. Newcomb has a how-to demonstration on his website.
You can get templates for a video appearance or a continuance, and there's a PowerPoint explaining exactly how to fill it out and where to mail it.
Pivot Interiors says in talking with the employee...
It's crazy. We have to have we have attorneys setting up their own resources to help people who are here legally, not illegally get detained. And what they have to do is hide. It's not even like, hey, you guys keep, you have a glitch in your paperwork. You've made a mistake in your paperwork. Let us help you with that. It's, hey, we've got to help you hide, because if you show up at the courthouse to obey the law, you may be detained and thrown in an immigration detention center.
After ICE detained her, she told them she had been coerced by ICE to sign self-deportation papers. And as of tonight, they don't know where she is. What they do know is they have a lot of questions about why a hard-working woman from Colombia who followed the law was still detained simply for showing up to court. We reached out to ICE specifically about this case, but have not had any response.
Yeah, why would they tell us anything? That's the Republican way. Now it's just we trust the government implicitly. We don't need any details. We're everything they do, we're just going to celebrate. It's getting weird. Somebody said earlier in the chat, like, I don't know what fascism is. I certainly know what fascism is, and the people who have studied fascism agree with me that this is fascism. If it's not fascism, what is it? What's the difference here? What's the fundamental difference here between the early stages of the Holocaust and now, when you're just rounding up people, you're blaming all of the problems on immigrants, you're nationalizing, you're trying to consolidate power, you're breaking us away from our allies. What's the difference here? The only difference so far that we have here is we've yet to do death camps. But we are supporting death camps in Israel, so we at least this administration seems relatively comfortable with the idea. And we'll get to more of that later. I just want to show that story. I came across this thread. Many of you know I used to be a professional sports bettor before I started doing this. And I came across this thread about sports betting that was just a bit alarming, to be honest. Actually, I'm going to move this over here. I'm just going to read it to you so that my messages don't pull up. This is from a reporter named John Arnold, who's been studying the legalization of sports betting in this country. There was an event held over the weekend specifically about the policy options and the lobbying efforts for sports betting industries. I just want to give you a couple of stats that are pretty alarming. So in 2018, SCOTUS struck down the federal ban for sports betting, and immediately at 30 states, including the state I live in, Arizona, rushed to the table and they started doing sports betting. Historically, if you go to a casino and you bet on sports, the casino has between like a 5 and 6% edge on you. When they say the house always wins, that's what they're talking about. And that's through juice. Like, for anybody who doesn't sports bet, basically, let's say that me and you are racing and everybody wants to bet on it. And let's just say that you and I are racing and most people think we're about the same speed. So it's a toss-up who's going to win in a race. The casino will offer odds at minus 110, meaning that you have to bet $110 to win $100, and that'll be on both sides. And that's how the casino makes their money. What they want to do is they want to have equal amounts of bets on both sides, and they just want to make that juice, that 10% juice. So their edge has historically been about 5 to 6%. Online sports books, though, have jumped that up to nearly 15% because of like in-game wagering, parlays, all sorts of props. And it's taken people from betting like real bettors, professional sports bettors, betting 2 or 3 times every 3 hours to now 30, 40 times every 3 hours. It's created an alarming set of statistics. And here's just what I wanted to tell you about. As this country continues to not only spiral into debt as a country, but as people are spiraling into debt. This is a U.S. News survey of Americans who've placed a bet in the past 6 months. 25% have been unable to pay a bill because of gambling. 30% have debts they attribute to gambling. 15% have taken out a personal loan to fund their wagers. 52% say they carry a credit card balance from month to month because of wagers. 25% worry that they can't control their gambling. And 21% said they verbally abused an athlete either in person or online. When I got out of sports betting, it was honestly because of that. Like, I didn't charge people for my picks. But what I would do is I would announce my picks daily. And then I started, the more I grew, the more my inbox was flooded with like degenerate gamblers. Like, oh, I put my last, my entire bankroll on that bet. You suck, dude. Now I can't pay my bills. And I was like, fuck, I do not want to do this anymore. It's just an interesting stat. If you have those, if you have friends or families who get involved in sports betting, or family members who get involved in sports betting, and they run into an issue like this, there are places they can get help. They can also ban themselves from sports books. But just interesting looking at like the amount of debt that has come out, especially post COVID, and the inflationary aspects of COVID, and now where we are now. We're going to talk about Trump's tariffs going forward and the bleak outlook on our economy. One of the ways that it has me very concerned is this video from Mr. Global. Now, if I'm saying I've been saying what Mr. Global's going to say in this video, at least in part, which isn't me saying I'm really intelligent, because Mr. Global is. What I'm saying is it's very obvious what's happening. Here's Mr. Global responding to Trump's new trade policies regarding natural gas and oil, and our new trade deal with the European Union, and what this means for you and your electric bills.
The European Union is going to agree to purchase from the United States $750 billion worth of energy.
Can I show you something? When Donald Trump says $750 billion worth of energy, what he's talking about is LNG. You see this? This, LNG exports. This, price of electricity. LNG exports, price of electricity. Donald Trump wants to triple this. When Donald Trump triples this, what do you think is going to happen to this?
Muted.
Son of a bitch. Thank you. Might as well start the week off that way. When Trump talks about drill, baby, drill, and he says, and he makes campaign promises and made campaign promises that he was going to unleash American energy dominance, and he was going to drill, baby, drill, and that would bring our prices down. He was talking about supply and demand. He was talking about increasing the supply here in the United States and not relying on foreign oil, and that would drive the price down. And yet, the first thing he does is he goes over and he starts cutting deals with other countries saying, you have to buy our oil, our natural gas. That's not going to bring the price down. That's going to increase the demand, and especially because of sanctions on Russia, and because of sanctions in the Middle East from the EU. Donald Trump is trying to take advantage of the EU and say, you will buy our product. Now, this is great for oil companies. They're going to make record profits because now they're expanding their pool. They're expanding the amount of people that they are servicing, meaning the highest bidder is going to get access to the oil, which is going to drive the price of oil and natural gas up. He sold you out. When he told you drill, baby, drill to get prices down, and then he turns around and sells that overseas, he's not driving your price down. He's driving it up. We'll continue with Mr. Global's video here.
Do you think this is just going to stop going up? I've been telling you guys for a really long time what's coming with electricity bills. Much to the dismay of a lot of people who call me a fearmonger and all kinds of stuff. When I say your electric bill will one day, in the near future, be more than your rent or your mortgage, I'm saying it because it's true. You are going to be subsidizing the companies that send all of our natural resources to Europe. Most of you have already seen this showing up on your electric bills. What you need to understand is it's going to get unbelievably worse. You're just seeing the beginning. Because if this wasn't bad enough, now we're going to try to do everything we can to destroy renewable energy at a time when energy demand is growing faster than...
I mean, you can call Mr. Global a fearmonger if you want, but let's see, we're at 139. If we look at this chart, like going back here, you can say whatever you want about him. We've had him on the show before. I find him to be incredibly intelligent. I think that he, when it comes to energy, he seems to know what he's talking about. He seems to get a lot of things right. But just explain the chart. If this is fear mongering, explain the chart. Explain how your prices are expected to go down here. On top you have exports, and on the bottom you have the price of gas. Look how exponentially it is rising. If he's a fearmonger, then how is it this data is also fear-mongering? Donald Trump last week on Friday, we ended the show talking about how Trump was lying about $1.99 gas. He thinks you guys are stupid, and some of you are stupid. So when Donald Trump tells you that the price of things are down, you're too fucking stupid to look at it and realize that he's lying, but he is lying. The prices aren't down, and we covered that over and over and over on Friday. We showed you multiple examples of things that Donald Trump said prices had gone down on, and they're actually going up. This increases the price of everything, and it also should be an indicator for anybody that is sensible to say, oh, fuck, we need to do something about renewable energy. But at the same time that he's doing this, at the same time he's expanding the demand for energy created in the United States, he's getting rid of subsidies for renewable energy. I don't understand the plan here, folks. Do you understand the plan? If you're a Republican, just so and you're new here, you can talk to me at any time. The Venmo username up there in the top left corner, if you're vertical, and if you're horizontal, it's the bottom left corner. The Venmo username there is also Jen's Discord name. And today, maybe more than any day, I'm inviting you to come up and talk to me about this. I want to know why this is working for you. I want to know why you think this is a good plan. Donald Trump's economic policies and this new trade deal that he has set with the European Union is fucking stupid. It makes absolutely no goddamn sense. It's raising your prices and raising your taxes, all while Donald Trump just looks at you and is like, I'm not doing that. I'm not raising your taxes or your prices. Your taxes and your prices are all coming down. But it's just not true. He's raising the price of literally everything so that he can help out his billionaire buddies in the fossil fuel industry.
Growing faster than it's ever grown in the United States in history. This president is completely incompetent when it comes to energy and understanding how it works and how it impacts Americans. If you think high gas prices cause inflation... By the way,
also when we're talking about subsidies, while these oil companies are going to make record profits, we are heavily subsidizing them. We're handing them money. Donald Trump is giving them tax breaks. He's giving them access to federal lands. We subsidize the fuck out of this industry. So, like, don't be a dummy. Don't be the kind of person who's like, we don't do renewable energy because of subsidies. Well, we do oil, and we've been subsidizing that for years. As long as I've been alive, we've been subsidizing oil. So, again, like, renewable energy, if you subsidize that, if you help me get solar panels on my house, great. The return for me is phenomenal. I pay way less. I don't know what my energy bill looks like so far this summer. I'll have to take a look. But I do know that not this side neighbor, the next door, like one neighbor has solar, the next door neighbor doesn't have solar, and I know that their energy bill was somewhere around like $650 last month. And this is a like a working class family. This is a family that, $650, which is up from when I first moved here. Before I had solar, we'd pay $300 or $400, and we kept the house pretty cool. They're at $650. They've said they're participating in like these energy savings programs. The SRP has still $650 a month for energy, and I don't know what their mortgage is like. They moved here before me, so I'd imagine their mortgage is somewhere between like $1,500 and $2,000 a month. That's a third of their mortgage. They're paying just to keep their house from turning into a sauna.
What do you think is going to happen to the farmer who spends more money on electricity than you could dream of? What do you think is going to happen at Walmart, who spends about $1 billion a year on electricity just in the United States. What do you think is going to happen when that turns into $2 billion a year? This isn't just your electric bill. This is everything. Thanks.
Yeah. All prices will go up. I honestly, for the life of me, can't figure out what he's doing. And again, if you're familiar with the fossil fuel industry, you want to come up and you want to correct any of this, please do. I would love to not be freaked out about the fact that we're about to pay sky high energy costs at the same time when every other cost is rising, and at the same time where we're going to be hit with tariffs every day for our everyday goods. TikTok, hey, Popular Monster, good to see you, my friend. Exotic Veteran, Amanda, Lisa Michelle, Spleef, rounding out the top 5 viewers over on TikTok. Please remember to keep gifting on TikTok as much as you can or as little as you can. That'll keep us from getting shut down. We're already visibility restricted over there. And then for those who are watching here, we have Venmo, PayPal, Cash App, as well as Super Chats, which I will try and read as quickly as they come in. And that'll help us accomplish our gift goals every day. Judith said, happy Monday. My kids are going to have to starve tonight. Don't do that. Don't say things like that. Amber said, can't wait for ICE prosecutions. No UK deal yet. Yeah, I've seen the idea of the UK deal. I don't know if it hasn't been signed yet. I didn't get the details on that before we went. Fox News has some ideas though. Fox News is watching day after day all of these mass deportations, and they're trying to figure out how they're gonna combat farmers losing their farms. And Fox News has a great idea. If you like your kids at home, fuck them
to work
because they're going to work.
Paying people not to work. And when you stop paying people not to work, they have to go out and get jobs. And the first jobs they go out and get are these wonderful, rewarding jobs like picking blueberries. I grew up pulling tobacco. There are wonderful jobs in farming, in construction, all of this that has sort of been handed over to largely illegal aliens allowed into the country to do all this cheap labor. Maybe you pay a little bit more for blueberries to actually have Americans picking the blueberries.
That's a good message. I hope Republicans keep trotting that message out. Why don't you just pay more for your stuff? What if we paid more for our stuff, but we had less brown people? I don't think that's a winning message. But keep running with that, though.
That's wonderful. Also, allow children to do it as summer jobs. The idea that your government, that your precious government, doesn't allow children to work summer jobs in blueberry fields is just mind-blowing to me.
Well,
that's mind-blowing. First of all, I think, can you work in fields? I've certainly worked in fields. Do we have a federal restriction on working in fields that I'm unaware of for children? We can't. I don't know what they're talking about there. As far as I know, you can work in fields. Thank you, Johnny. Appreciate you, my friend. Jen, the super chats I don't think are showing up. I see that you sent me that one from Johnny, but it's not showing up on my end. So will you keep a track?
That's the only one we've gotten.
Okay, it's not showing on my end. So will you make sure to keep track of the super chats? I don't know why they're not showing up on my end.
Yeah, that's the only one we've gotten so far. And I'm not judging or anything, guys, but cough, cough, side look, cough, cough.
Thank you, Jen. Actually, do this. I'll update that.
It's very difficult work, by the way, and it's fine. I'm totally down with everything that you're saying. But the point is,
I'm not a libertarian.
For Americans to want to do these jobs, if it costs more, I'm okay with subsidizing that labor because then I think we get more fruits and vegetables.
You should reward good things and punish bad things.
So
do you agree?
What is the good thing that we're rewarding here? Child labor? Is that we need our children working in the fields, not brown people. That's what we need. We should reward good behavior like child labor, and we should punish bad things like non-white people in our country. I think is what he's trying to say there. And don't tell me that Charlie Kirk doesn't mean that. I don't. Maybe you guys don't feel the same way Charlie Kirk does. But don't tell me for 1 second that Charlie Kirk doesn't have a problem with the amount of non-white people in this country, because he absolutely does, and he tells us every day. So if I'm not talking about you, that's fine. But let's not pretend that that's not Charlie Kirk. Conservatives are also really upset at Grock this morning. Somebody asked Grock if they should, if it was smart to leave your children with Donald Trump. And Grock said, based on verified allegations from over 25 women of sexual misconduct, including a court finding of liability for abuse in the E. Jean Carroll case, Trump's documented friendship with Epstein, a convicted pedo, and his own statements like joking about dating his daughter, Ivanka, or young girls, it would be highly unwise for any parent to leave a child, especially a teenage girl, alone with him. Prudence demands caution. And this has resulted in right-wing Twitter losing their mind and calling Grock woke, which I think is pretty sweet, because now what you're including in woke is abusing children and women. Now it's woke. If you don't abuse women and children. Is that the idea behind this? Conservatives, that's what you're upset about? We've entered this era of conservatism where you guys have been lied to so much, and embarrassingly lied to so much, and you believe so many things that are lies, that when the internet or AI scours the internet to try and find any evidence of the dumb shit that you're saying, they can't find it because it doesn't exist, because there is no evidence. And so then when they are forced to conclude that you're wrong, instead of saying, you know what, maybe Donald Trump wasn't telling the truth. You know what, maybe Alex Jones wasn't telling the truth. You know what, maybe Tim Pool wasn't telling the truth. Instead of thinking that, you go to the conspiracy theory that just everything is woke and everybody is against Donald Trump. It's the same shit we're seeing in the chat today and every day of you just want bad things to happen for Trump. You hate this country. No, we're reporting. However, I'm not going to say I don't sit here and like cheerlead the government. When Donald Trump does good things, which I'm trying to think of one. I know there's an executive order we covered last week that I liked from Donald Trump. Like, I'm not going to spend my time cheerleading people in Congress. I'm not going to spend time cheerleading government for doing like the bare minimum when they do it. What we are going to discuss is places that they could get better and places where they're obviously corrupt. And one of the places that they're most obviously corrupt is in the Trump administration. And they all seem to answer to Trump. So we've got to cover it. So if you guys want us to stop covering Trump, what I would recommend is you write a letter to Donald and say, hey, could you shut the fuck up for a while? I want you to be quiet for a while so they don't have anything to criticize you for. Because every time that guy opens his mouth, it's just lie after lie after lie after lie. Thank you, Asta Sophia. Appreciate you, my friend. Greetings from across the ocean. Sorry we had to send our guy to your continent. Our bad. Emma Vigland was on MSNBC. If you don't know who Emma Vigland is, she is one of the co-hosts for the Majority Report. I'm a huge fan of the Majority Report, as many of you know, and a big fan of Emma Vigland. But she lays out what I think is a pretty compelling argument. The Democrats right now that are just sitting back and letting this happen, and sitting back and just assuming that Donald Trump will run people off, we have no time for them. I thought what Emma said here on the weekend was really intelligent. So there you go.
Emma, I'm curious how you think Democrats should fight this out, position themselves right now, because we have people like Senator Wyden who has a clear focus and sort of path forward. Democrats on the Oversight Committee doing what they can right now with subpoena efforts. But then at the same time, some of the reporting in the past week has suggested that some Democrats are very uncomfortable in this space. They kind of wish they could be talking about the big, beautiful bill or big, ugly bill in their view. I'm interested to hear your take on what they should fundamentally do, and if there is a risk here for them, given the fact that if more files are made public, it's very likely there are people on both sides of the aisle in there.
Yeah, I remember maybe it was some years ago, Christine Pelosi had tweeted out, some of our faves may be implicated, but that's something that we need to basically stomach, because this is being given to Democrats on a silver platter. If they can't make something out of this, well, I don't know what they're in public service for, except to, I don't know, have the prestige. Because there are very few opportunities right now to slow the roll of this fascist administration. They are throwing people into concentration camps down in Florida. They are helping Israel commit genocide in Gaza right now. Time is of the essence. And so if we can slow them in any way that creates political problems for them, we have to be able to take that opportunity. And I mean, as I was saying in the earlier segment, this is a bit of a populist story, I think, for lower information voters. I don't want to be disparaging, but I'm interested in it too, right? Because it's such a low barrier to entry. You can see how the story is about elites doing unspeakable things and getting away with it, and then other elites covering that up. And for so long, Donald Trump has positioned himself as separate from the Republican establishment. And frankly, even Democrats have aided this by pursuing suburban Republicans in their coalition and just saying, oh, that's MAGA Republicans. No, all Republicans are complicit in this, and let's fight Republicans. And so when you show that Donald Trump is participating.
One of the things that Majority Report's, I think, a little bit different for, and I do agree with this. I have to say that I think that I'll be critical. I think that outlets like Midas Touch often go too far and often try and play the Trumpian game of labeling everybody's something different. And so a lot of times, if you watch Midas Touch, who I think they do some decent stuff, they'll always say like MAGA extremist congressperson or MAGA extremist commentator. And I think what Emma and the Majority Report remind people is like, when you do that, when you say MAGA extremist, one, you're painting with a broad brush, but two, you're giving people an out. You're allowing people to say like, this is the extremist wing of the Republican Party. It's not. It's not the extremes. This is the establishment at this point. The establishment of the Republican Party is Donald Trump. The establishment is far-right authoritarianism. That is the establishment. It's not like Nick Fuentes is no longer fringe. Laura Loomer is a legitimate player in the Republican Party. She's getting people fired from this administration. Charlie Kirk is one of the biggest voices on the right. And Republicans need to be not only be aware of that, but we should be looping Republicans in with that. Force them to say like, yeah, I'm a Republican. Donald Trump's a Republican. I don't know if I agree with the mass starvation of these children in Gaza. I don't know if I agree with rounding up non-criminal immigrants. I don't know if I agree with now arresting people who are here legally. I don't know if I agree with Donald Trump trying to cover up the Epstein files. I tend to agree with both Sam Cedar and Emma here that that type of language allows people an escape route, allows them to be like, oh, yeah, I don't agree with everything Donald Trump does. But if you're a Republican, if you voted for him, if you at this point in this administration, even if you're frustrated with him, if you're saying still, like, I would vote for him over Harris at this point still, then, yeah, like, you've got to be looped in with this.
In the cover-up, this elite cover-up, you bring him into the fold of the elites that people despise.
Thank you, Mary. Appreciate it.
That are responsible for this untold concentration of wealth that at the very top, they're making people's lives worse. You make Donald Trump into an establishment figure by tying him to Epstein. And so if Democrats can't make a good political hay out of this, I mean, I don't know, man. You got to find another job, go into consulting or something.
You know, one of the things that makes me think about this differently is the more and more and more there's a resistance to this, the bigger the expectation seems to be in terms of what's actually in the files. And so it strikes me as something that we are not going to be able to ever satisfy the hunger from the MAGA right, or even from people who are just curious about what's in those files, because to your point, Emma,
it's a fair question, Scott. So you being a Democrat, you 100% of the time agree with Biden, make it make sense. No, but like, I was allowed to disagree with Biden. And I did disagree with Biden. I'm saying, what are these things that you disagree with Trump on that aren't like the staples of what he's doing? What could you possibly think Trump is doing well at this point?
There's been such a big cover-up so far, right, and that's just created such a big issue.
But the cover-up, how did Nixon get undone? It's the cover-up. I mean, Benghazi, do people even know what happened in Benghazi? But they'll hear that and they associate it with Hillary Clinton. Let's play dirty. I mean, we have a majority of the American public on our side, but we also have a responsibility to protect the most vulnerable in this moment, and that means not holding back any punches when it comes to Donald Trump.
twice in a day? Fuck, twice. My bad, guys. It's Monday. My bad. Twice in a day. I haven't done that in a while. I just think that I think that she's just right about this. Like, I'm so tired of seeing Hakeem Jeffries. Where was Keith Edwards tweeted something out? I was going to put it on here, but I didn't have a story for it. Let me just show you what Keith Edwards tweeted out, because I agree. Like, I don't know if there's anybody right now in the world more cringy than Republicans. Democrats. You have that guy. Who's that guy that keeps like playing music? He keeps playing like it'll take like a 2-minute video. I forget his name. He's in Congress. He played like the saxophone the other day. This is the shit. Keith Edwards tweeted this out and just said, "Stop doing this shit." Yeah, what is this? Don't do that anymore. Don't do that. Nobody should do that. I'm gonna mute it. Don't do this. This is so fucking uncomfortable. I don't even get it. First of all, I hate these videos on TikTok in general. They're the dumbest fucking videos. When you take like the lyrics to a song and you make the video but you put what you really mean, these are terrible videos, always. I've never sat and watched this. If you're a content creator who makes these types of videos, knock it off. Knock it off forever. But this is horrendous. What is that guy's name that shit. Do you guys know who I'm talking about? He keeps doing videos of him like singing and playing music. Let me see if I can find it. Now I gotta tell you, somebody's got to have it. All right, there it is. It's Hank Johnson. Keeps doing shit like this.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Congressman Hank Johnson here with my Fender Stratocaster. Just recently picked it up. Thought I would try it out. I hate to hurt your ears and everything, but I'm just learning to play guitar. And it happens to be Black Music Month of 2025.
He's just doing a fucking talent show.
And if y'all don't mind, I'm going to just strum a little
doing?
bit. Please don't hold it against me.
He got his shirt nice and unbuttoned. He's like letting a little bit of muscle hang out. I don't know why we're doing this. He's also a terrible guitar player. He's also really bad at it. All right. It's just like, that's what they're doing. That's where we have a problem with this. Is why your approval rating sucks. You have been gift wrapped like this. If you want to retain power, you got the dumbest fucking guy ever to occupy office in there, and this idiot is tariffing the American people, taxing the American people while saying that he's not. He's increasing, as we see, our energy demand, which is going to skyrocket prices. Inflation is going up. He has his foreign policy has been atrocious, and yet we can't capitalize on it. There's some polling from Harry Enton right here that goes to show, like, as bad as Donald Trump is, and good Lord, he's bad. These poll numbers should not be shocking.
Yeah, this one was a surprising one to me, given everything that's going on in Russia, what happened in Iran, what happened in Gaza. But the bottom line is Democrats in the...
Also, I will never say I'm the most intelligent person around. But if you don't think I'm smarter than Donald Trump, I don't know what to tell you. Like, Donald Trump's a fucking idiot. I don't know why you guys are still convinced he's intelligent. He is... I'm going to show you some clips from his trip to Europe. He's hands down the dumbest fucking person ever to occupy the office by miles. He might be the dumbest person. I know there's some people dumber than him. I was going to say in my lifetime to be held in elective office, but then I remembered like Lauren Boebert exists, and I'm like, maybe not.
American voters' minds cannot hack it. What are we talking about? Party trust to more in foreign policy. Well, the GOP holds an average 6-point lead in the month of July. Look at this. Fox News came out last week, plus 3 points for Republicans on foreign policy over the Democrats. You think that number is not high enough for you? How about the Wall Street Journal? GOP plus 8 points when they match congressional Democrats up against congressional Republicans. The bottom line is this. Despite everything that's going on in the world right now, Republicans are more trusted on Democrats when it comes to foreign policy and the world at large.
How has this changed, or how does this compare to during the campaign?
Yeah, again, this to me was a surprising number since Donald Trump said he'd come in and broker all these peace deals. And while he's brokered some, he hasn't obviously brokered one between Ukraine and Russia and obviously the situation in Gaza. But take a look here. Trust more in foreign policy. You go back to 2024. Trump had a 6-point advantage over Kamala Harris. Again, look at the average right now. It hasn't moved despite
these polls. This is Fox News and Wall Street Journal polls. So these are, and this is then Harry N takes the aggregate there. So
everything that's going on in the world, you see Republicans plus 6 points here, and this goes back to a larger issue that we have discussed.
Look, but honestly, like to throw party aside, is there any sort of coherent foreign policy coming out of the Democrats? Trying to defend Harris leading up to that election sucked, because what I had with Harris was she'll be slightly better than Trump. That's not, you can't win an election on that. You're not going to win saying like, oh, Harris still supports Israel, but she'll be a little more careful. Like maybe Harris would have gotten to the conclusion that Israel was committing genocide quicker than Trump did. That's it. But that's all we really had with Harris and Biden. There wasn't like this massive gap. Now, Trump pretended that there was a massive gap, and he was able to win using that messaging by saying things like, oh, all these wars happened because of Joe Biden. Like we were at peace, and now we have all these new wars. It wasn't true. Had nothing to do with Joe Biden. But the pushback from Democrats was, well, we'll be slightly better. It's not a coherent through line. Nobody is convinced by that. So basically what Trump said is, I'm going to take the status quo of what we have currently with all these wars, and I'm going to end them. And then he didn't. And so if you're a Republican and you voted for Trump because he was going to end that war, and then you retreat back and you're like, okay, he's not ending these wars in Ukraine or Israel, they're actually getting worse. Are you left to conclude that you made the wrong decision? No, because what was the alternative? Where we're at right now, right? That's why it didn't work. You'd have a hard time making an argument that if Joe Biden was still president, that we wouldn't be in the same situation that we're in right now. I think we would be in a very similar situation, only we would have like different kind of confusing communication coming from the top, because Democrats would be forced to be like, oh, they would be forced to address the humanitarian crisis in Gaza, but they still probably wouldn't do anything about it. So there's not, like, I understand why Republicans have an edge here, because even though they don't wind up doing something different, at the very least they had something that they could sell people on that was different. Democrats didn't even try and sell you on something different. It was just like, well, we're going to keep doing our best. Doesn't work.
Discussed over and over again here in the mornings, despite any misgivings that the American public might have about Donald Trump, when you match up Republicans against Democrats, Donald Trump against Democrats, still at this particular point, they are doing significantly better than you might expect. And when it comes to the issue of...
It's fucking amazing to watch the Republicans in the chat while I'm like throwing them bones and like kind of siding with them right now. They still can't figure it out. They're still upset. Wendy said, every other president we've had has had no problem with us disagreeing with them. They were grown-ups about it and didn't try to punish us for not agreeing with them. Facts.
Foreign policy, again, what you see is in the American voters' minds, Democrats simply put can't hack it. More voters trust Republicans on foreign policy, very much like they did back during the 2024 campaign.
What about the strikes on Iran? Because while they were being contemplated, they were not universally popular.
No, they were not universally popular. And in the immediate aftermath, they were not universally popular. Look at this. Net approval rating, U.S. airstrikes on Iran. In late June, the net approval rating, look at that. -8 points underwater. But as the American people learned more and more about it, look at this. A 10-point rise. Now it's in the positive. The American people like the move that Donald Trump put on Iran, the U.S. airstrikes in Iran, a positive +2 net approval rating. So again, the bottom line is this.
I would be interested to meet those people being polled. Like, I don't know what changed from late June to now. Like, we don't have more intelligence now. That's an interesting one. I can't figure, like, nothing's changed from then until now. We have not dismantled Iran's nuclear program. I guess people just bought maybe people just bought the story that Iran was close to having a nuclear weapon, and now they feel like that they're not close. I don't know. I'm not sure. It'd be interesting to hear people's opinion on that. My guess is largely it's that all just went away. Like, I don't know. Israel just bombed Iran for some reason, which we've never figured out. And then Iran attacked Israel, and then we attacked Iran, and then it was over. It feels like all of that was unnecessary. Like, from start to finish, it was unnecessary. It'd be interesting to see why they have that change of view.
As the American people learn more about these airstrikes, as the American people compare Donald Trump and the Republicans against the Democrats, they see them far more favorably than you might expect.
Interesting and notable that the president is overseas today. Foreign policy may be an area that is stronger for him. Harriet, thank you.
Thank you, my friend.
Thank you. Yaya in Washington, thank you for the donation. Adam says legislative leaders of both parties are being pussies right now, refusing to speak out against Trump. The only difference is Democrats are quietly whimpering in the corner and Republicans are in lockstep so they don't get alienated by their base. Yeah, I mean, a little bit. I do think Democrats are trying to turn on the heat now, but I think they're late, and they're doing it at a time when they're on break. I mean, what are you going to do? You're not going to get that much attention. You're not going to be able to confront other Republicans. Everybody's on a break right now. The timing could not be worse. And that's why it's important for independent journalists to keep doing what we're doing and keep the pressure on with Trump. This is why I think California needs a state constitution, which I'm going to get to in a little bit. But this is a guy named Kyle Langford who is running for governor in California, far-right activist. He went to oh, it doesn't show the whole thing here. Well, he went to Ashwitz. He took a picture. You can kind of see it here. And he said, this is my 0% unemployment plan. There's a person that's on the right, like open Nazi talking about genocide as a 0% unemployment plan. Auschwitz Memorial tweeted back at him the instrumentalization of the tragedy of all those imprisoned and murdered in the German Nazi concentration and extermination camp Auschwitz for political messaging is a profound moral failure. Auschwitz is not a prop. Kyle Langford, your post is a affront to the dignity of, I don't know what it said there. And Kyle Langford, of course, responded back, what a beautiful work camp. Thank you for the shout out. Truly an honor. That's, yeah. We like Nazis have never felt so comfortable being Nazis in this country. And they feel like they're pretty close to Republicans. Like, a lot of Republicans are going to see this and they're not going to care. The Republicans in the chat here probably won't care. Many of them are Nazis in all fairness, but they like the Nazis are part of the party now, and they're not really being shut down. They're not really being silenced by Republicans. Byron Donalds, before we get into this, Byron Donalds went on Fox News and he's running cover. And I just want to continuously bring this up. It's very important to remember that what Tulsi Gabbard released, that ICA report, is absolute dog shit. It means fucking nothing. There's nothing to that report that should lead you to believe that the government staged a coup against Trump, that they were fighting against Trump, that they were even lying about Trump. In fact, if we go to that ICA report, let me pull it up here. I probably should have had this ready. Sorry. I think we covered that Thursday. Was it Thursday that we did that? Yeah. Sorry, let me find it. Here we go. That if we go over to the very beginning of this document, come on, load this screen over here. That again was declassified. It was a report from 2020. If you go right to the beginning, what they say is most ICA judgments on Russia's activities in the U.S. election employed proper analytic tradecraft and were consistent with observed Russian behavior. The key judgments found to be credible include 1. President Putin ordered conventional and cyber influence operations, notably by leaking politically sensitive emails obtained from computer intrusions. Putin's principal motivations in these operations was to undermine faith in the U.S. democratic process and weaken what the Russians considered to be an inevitable Clinton presidency. And 3, Putin held back leaking some compromising material for post-election use. Their conclusion was that this report was accurate. In fact, the only thing they recommended changing is say, we could improve our peer review of controversial assessments involving limited access intelligence, require political appointees to recuse themselves, and mandate that finished analysis citing substandard raw intelligence reports include a context footnote. So we just have to have better footnotes and better peer review. That's what this entire report concluded. So remember that when they tell you that this was like a hoax and that Tulsi Gabbard is some sort of hero for exposing the deep state, what she exposed is that they did a really, really good job. And that they employed proper analytic tradecraft and were consistent with observed Russian behavior. There's nothing in that campaign, in that report, that says Trump campaign was colluding with Russia. In this report, in the original ICA report, or in this report, because this report it does mention some things, but this is an oversight investigation. This is a report given by Republicans. And they're assessing the ICA report, and they're reviewing the ICA report. In the original ICA report, it absolutely says that members of Trump's team worked with Russia, if that's what you mean by colluding. They absolutely did. Paul Manafort and Michael Flynn both pled guilty to working with Russia to influence the election. George Papadopoulos went to prison for working with Russia on the election. Steve Bannon was working with Cambridge Analytica in unison. He was the go-between between the Trump campaign and Russia, and they were sharing that information. Rick Gates as well. Yeah, thank you. If you're still a person who doesn't believe that Trump or Trump's team, excuse me, not Trump himself, the members of Trump's team were working with Russia to influence the 2016 election, then you disagree with literally every piece of evidence put out by our intel agencies. You disagree with the Republican assessment of the report, not only in September of 2020, but also the Senate committee report that was chaired by Marco Rubio. If you don't think Russia and Trump's team worked together on the 2016 election, then you are legitimately going against 100% of the evidence. You are believing 0% of the evidence. They absolutely worked together. It's unequivocal. People went to jail. All of our intelligence agencies have confirmed it. Vladimir Putin has confirmed that he wanted Trump to win. And Russian intelligence has confirmed that they had a preference for Trump and that they worked with members of his campaign to influence the election. If you don't believe that, you're just a fucking idiot. That's all there is to this. You're a fucking idiot if you don't think that Trump's team worked with Russia, because all the evidence says otherwise. So you're just like, I choose not to believe this. Anyways, back to here's Byron Donald, who's running for governor in Florida and towing that party line, going out as a Trump puppet, because that's what you have to do to win the GOP. You just have to go out and say that Trump is good, and that's all you need.
Congressman Crow saying,
Caitlin, thanks for joining the Dollar Train.
That, everybody knew everything they needed to know. This isn't new. Your reaction?
My reaction is first to Mr. Crow. This information might have been there, but are we going to assume that the Biden administration was going to bring the necessary investigations? Understand, Joe Biden was vice president under Barack Obama. We know the history. And if it is Barack Obama's administration that ordered a new intelligence briefing, not based on any facts or any merits, but based upon the Steele dossier.
All right, so this is a lie. Now, Byron Donald's on this post. He said he made specific claims. He said the Steele dossier was fake. No, it wasn't. We have to be very clear about the Steele dossier. Number one, the Steele dossier is not included in this ICA report. So this report that he's talking about has nothing to do with the fucking Steele dossier. But Byron Donald doesn't read anything. He just, other than what's put in front of him to say on camera. The ICA report that was commissioned by Obama had nothing to do with the Steele dossier. The Steele dossier also is not fake. It's opposition research. Some of the story, like most of the Steele dossier, is just a collection of claims people made about Donald Trump and things that they may use against him. It was never intended to confirm anything. So most of the Steele dossier is just people like, for example, the P tapes. That's the big one. Russia claimed that they had P tapes. In the Steele dossier, Fusion GPS said Russian agents claim they have a P-tape video that they will use as leverage. All of that's true. Russia claimed that they had that, and that's what the Steele dossier says. The Steele dossier doesn't say there are P-tapes. The Steele dossier, again, is opposition research. It just says that Russia claims they have this. The Steele dossier had nothing to do with this ICA report, and the Steele dossier had almost nothing to do with the Mueller investigation, and that is confirmed in the Horowitz report, and that is confirmed in the Mueller investigation, that most of what the Steele dossier was simply opposition research, and it was used for political purposes. But it did offer, at the very least, accusations that they could grab, that they could pull from, and they could go investigate the people making those claims, and that opened up doors to other things. But the Steele dossier is not discredited. Anybody who tells you the Steele dossier is discredited is lying to you, because in order for the Steele dossier to be discredited, you would have to prove that P-tapes don't exist, right? It's unfounded. It's unverifiable. That's always been the case. But Republicans talk about the Steele dossier all the time because it's their out. It had almost nothing to do with any of these investigations. Nobody was convicted because of the Steele dossier. They just know that the Steele dossier was amongst the evidence that they used, and that's the one thing that they know can't be proven, so they focus on it all the time. But it's not fake. It's opposition research. It's real. People actually claimed that they had the things that are in the Steele dossier, and the Steele dossier just confirms that those stories exist. That's it. That's the whole purpose of it. But pretending that it was like the basis of an investigation, if you believe that, again, you're just somebody who's comfortable being lied to. Google it right now. Google it right now. Was the Steele dossier crucial to the Mueller investigation? Was the Steele dossier crucial to the ICA report? You'll find there is nobody that would confirm that other than just like hacks here, like political hacks. There's no investigation has said that that was part of it.
That demonstrates why the former presidential administration under Joe Biden did not look into any of this, because they were covering up for the previous Democrat administration. That's number one. Number two, we all know that the Steele dossier was fake. And then when they ordered a new intelligence briefing, it was then Mr. Brennan who was overriding senior intelligence officials in the intelligence community who did not want to even go down the road of substantiating claims that the.
Now here's this story. I don't understand why they do this. There were a handful, allegedly, senior CIA investigators who disagreed with the findings of the ICA report. However, there were also senior CIA officials who agreed with the findings of the ICA report. So this idea that like the CIA said that the conclusions from the ICA report were incorrect and that John Brennan published them anyways is an unequivocal lie. There were multiple senior intel agents that were working with Brennan that agreed with it. Yes, there were some people who didn't agree with the conclusions of the ICA report, but that's the whole point of the ICA report. Remember, the ICA report did not put anybody in jail. It did not accuse anybody of a crime. It simply was a report about what was happening during the election and how Russia was trying to interfere. This is such a fucking nothing burger that like I'm going to keep covering it because I want it to be clear to Republicans that you don't actually have a leg to stand on here. We've read this report. I've never seen anybody who read the report who thinks there's something to it. In fact, the only one I've seen who said they read the report was Jesse Waters, who then made 4 claims, and 2 of those claims were not even in the ICA report. He just lied about reading the report.
Russians were putting up Donald Trump as a stalking horse. That is the facts. Those are the histories. The reason why it hasn't been investigated is because Trump's first administration was frankly under a firestorm for 4 years dealing with the false intelligence from the Obama administration about Russia. We know Yeah,
it's all fake, but Trump's people in Trump's team just pled guilty because it was all fake. They just pled guilty. They went to jail, but it was all fake, guys. It is alarming how a member of Congress here, somebody running for governor, can sit up here and be so fucking wrong. He's either lying or he's a moron. I don't know which one it is. It could be a combination of both. But it is astonishing to watch Republicans be lied to every single day and then just come out and repeat those same lies day after day after day. I have concerns that Americans have no clue how to find answers, and it's not that hard. You can just Google this shit, and when you can't find an answer that confirms you, maybe you're fucking wrong. Maybe the reason that you can't find any confirmation for your claims is not because there is some wide-ranging conspiracy to lie to you, but maybe it's because you just got lied to. And that's why there's no evidence to back up any of these claims.
Biden administration wasn't going to investigate that. I mean, for crying out loud, they did everything wrong. So now it's left to DNI Gabbard to release the documentations and then also provide the referrals to the Department of Justice so we can finally get a true accounting, a true investigation. And then if there were criminal activities, people need to be prosecuted for that as well.
They claim treason. Can we just talk about treason real quick? What the crime of treason is? Because I think too many Republicans have been convinced that treason just means saying bad things about Donald Trump. But in order to be convicted of treason, you have to you betray your country by aiding your enemies to overthrow the government. Are we going to say that Obama putting out an ICA report that correctly identifies that members of Trump's team were working with Russia is treason? That is somehow the Obama working with our enemies to overthrow our government? Is that what we're going to say? Is that the claim that you're making, Republicans? If you are, I would like to talk about it. I would again invite any of you guys to come up here and talk about any of this. Correct me where I'm wrong instead of being keyboard warriors. Above me, if you're in vertical, and to the left of me, if you're in horizontal, you can see the Venmo username, JenDub1. You can add her on Discord, and we can bring you up and have a call live here on the air. But we don't get a lot of takers that way. Generally, it's mostly keyboard warriors. Did I go? Oh, that's the wrong outline. Let's go. I do want to show this. I hadn't seen this video. Shout out Blue Georgia for posting this. This is Vladimir Putin in 2018 admitting that he had a preference. Now, remember, this entire ICA report, the contention here between the Republicans and the ICA report is that they claim that the ICA report incorrectly concluded that Putin preferred Trump over Hillary. That's the entire accusation of Tulsi Gabbard, is that the ICA report concluded that Putin preferred Trump. I didn't even know that was up for debate. I didn't know that we were still arguing about that. I thought that we had covered that forever. But here's Putin in 2018 just admitting it.
Did you want President Trump to win the election, and did you direct any of your officials to help him do that?
Да, я хотел, чтобы он выиграл. Yes, I did. Yes, I did. Because he talked about bringing the U.S.-Russia relationship back to normal.
Did you want President?
And they are going to go out on Fox News today, and your favorite Republican content creators are going to go out there today, and they're going to tell you that what Obama did somehow was treasonous, and that he's going to go to jail, and that there's going to be some massive investigation into this thing that we all know absolutely happened. That Putin absolutely preferred Trump, that he absolutely used everything in his ability to try and discredit Hillary Clinton, and he helped Donald Trump win because he had a preference. And can we do anything about that? Not a great deal. We can try and secure our elections a little better. We could maybe do something about fake news. We could maybe do something about Russians consistently paying Republican content creators. We could do something about that if we wanted to. But I don't know if you guys know this. When Russia paid Benny Johnson, Tim Pool, Dave Rubin, and like a handful of other Republicans, they opened an investigation, which makes sense, right? If Putin is funding conservative content creators to get them to push a pro-Russian narrative, that should be investigated, right? The investigation was happening, and then Trump came in office, and guess what Trump's DOJ did with that investigation? They dropped it. So all of these people got millions of dollars from Russia to push Russian disinformation to, again, help Donald Trump in his campaign. And then as soon as Trump won, he just came in and he squashed it. Nah, nothing to see here. They did it in 2016. They did it in 2020. They did it in 2024. Donald Trump will always welcome Russian interference. It's part of his campaign strategy. They need it. And he didn't even have to pay for it himself. The Russians were happy to pay Tim Pool millions of dollars to just spout Russian propaganda. Here's Marco Rubio in 20. I want to say it was 2020, but or 2019. I think this was right after the Senate intel report.
Are you concerned that President Trump still refuses to accept that the Russians try to interfere with our election?
Yeah, I disagree with him on that assessment, and I think everybody else basically in government does as well. And my hope is that eventually, at some point, the president will come to that conclusion.
As far as the general theme of Russia's interference, look, the president has said he doesn't believe it. I believe it. Not only do I believe it, I know it. Almost every
It's Marco Rubio. It's the Secretary of State, who's now out there spouting the line that this didn't happen. So he was just lying here? Is that what's going on? He was just lying right here? When everybody in the Senate came together and created this report, they were all lying then, but now that Trump's back in office, they're telling the truth?
Everybody else does.
You don't regard this whole Russia investigation as a hoax, do you?
Yeah, I don't think there's any doubt that Russian intelligence tried to divide us against each other and play an influence in the direction of our election. You know, all I can tell you, I mean, Russia most certainly tried to interfere in our election. They may have had a preference for Donald Trump, but I don't think they thought he was going to win.
President Putin denied. How many do we need? How many more do we need? Don't worry, we've got another minute and 13 seconds of this.
Having anything to do with the election interference in 2016. Every U.S. intelligence agency has concluded that Russia did. Who do you believe?
People came to me, they said they think it's Russia. I have President Putin. He just said it's not Russia. I will say this. I don't see any reason why it would be.
But the president...
Yeah. Remember that? I don't know why Russia would do that. Tim, thank you for the dollar train. Renee said old EPA killed by MAGA, new MAGA EPA, Epstein Protection Agency. It's devastating.
Said today is not accurate. The intelligence community has assembled probably an unparalleled amount of evidence in regards to the Russian, not just efforts to interfere in 2016, but ongoing efforts to interfere in American society.
The Senate Intelligence Committee confirmed again that Russia moved to interfere in the 2016 presidential election, and high-ranking members of the Trump campaign were happy to accept this help. The report, led by Republicans, including Acting Chair Florida Senator Marco Rubio, does include some major findings. It says that the Trump campaign chairman, Paul Manafort, shared internal polling data with a Russian intelligence officer. It also...
Did you guys know that? Did you know that Trump's campaign chair was sharing polling data with Russian intel officers? Did you know that? That's confirmed by the Mueller investigation. Then the Horowitz report, which Republicans tell you somehow debunks the Mueller investigation, which it doesn't, but it was confirmed there. And then you had the Senate Intel Committee findings also say that. But that's all. It's all a hoax, right? Because Trump says Russia, Russia, Russia. Trump wouldn't lie about this to you. Trump wouldn't have spent 10 years lying about this, right? He for sure was telling the truth that whole time, right? I guess 8 years.
Says that Manafort's presence on the campaign gave Russia opportunities to influence and learn about the campaign. And part of the report, which has been blacked out, indicates some evidence that Manafort may have been tied to Russia's hacking of Democratic emails.
All fake though, right? Still not illegal? You don't think it's illegal to work with another country on interfering in the election? You're incorrect about that. It is 100% illegal to accept support from foreign countries for your election. That's 100% illegal. But that it wasn't illegal. Is that what you guys are saying? Like, you just don't fucking care? Just whatever he does is fine. Let's just say that for your argument's sake that this wasn't illegal. It's okay then? It's okay. He should just be able to work with Russia. Russia should be able to spread misinformation about Hillary Clinton. Donald Trump should be able to cut deals with Russia based on intel that they're supposed to give him, dirt on political opponents. Is that why? what we should do. It's crazy what you guys are willing to just like ignore. I want to bring this back up. Mike Johnson talking about redistricting, because what you now see from Republicans is an understanding. And I think when Trump said to Mike Johnson, we have our little secret. I don't know what that little secret was, but this seems to be something that they've planned for a long time. And I wanted to show you this clip with a little bit of context here. This is Brian Kilmeade, a Fox News anchor, and this is Mike Johnson. He is the Speaker of the House. This is a person who is supposed to represent the people of Louisiana first and the Republican Party second. And what he's doing with that shit-eating grin, what you're about to hear now, is Mike Johnson saying, we are going to cheat. We are going to rig the game. And we think that we have a better plan to rig the game than the Democrats. And they're just openly doing this. And I covered on Friday, I don't like that Democrats are going to respond by also cheating. I think that everybody who's redistricting and gerrymandering areas now is cheating. And all I have to say, like, for each and every one of us here, no matter what side of the aisle you're on, this is an attempt to silence our voices, to make sure that the actual voices in this country aren't heard, that they manipulate how the voices in this country are heard. Mike Johnson absolutely believes Texas is going to give them 5 new seats. We'll see. I don't know if Texas can pull it off or not. I don't doubt it. Our friend Isaiah was in front of the Texas legislature last week telling them, we all know what the fucking game is. You all know what the fucking game is. You all know that you're doing this for Donald Trump. You work for us, and yet you seem to only work for Donald Trump on the state in the state legislature. So Mike Johnson right now is going to brag about taking away the voice of the people, and Democrats are going to respond by taking away the voice of the people. And this is it's sick that they can sit here and smile while they do this. I showed you guys Kathy Hochul. It was sick when she did it. She's like, 2 can play at this game. Meanwhile, all of us are like, hey, hello? Hey, if you gerrymander, then that means the will of the people isn't heard. That means that you're deciding what the will of the people is. Or at the very least, you're heavily manipulating that. There's no reason. What was Texas's, let's see, what was the final tally? Texas Senate race. Final results. Let's take a look here. From 2024, Ted Cruz won by how many votes? About 900,000 votes is what Ted Cruz won by. This is not a state, and if we go back, he won by over 1 million the year or the time prior to that. So this is not a state that is getting more Republican. It is getting a slightly more Democrat, though still a safely red state. But now they're just going to manipulate it so it's more red.
Term, but much simpler in the first term, less responsibility. Real quick, are you for the redistricting that the president's pushing for in Texas and Ohio? Because in response, the Democrats say, we're going to do it to you in New York and California.
California has a problem. They've got to amend their state constitution, as I understand the law out there, to do it. Look, we have to fight for every inch of ground in the country. We're in an era of small margins, as you said, because of gerrymandering and redistricting, but they have to follow.
No, it's not because of gerrymandering and redistricting. That's why you have large margins. You have small margins because people are split. And you don't have in these red states, states that become more populated, like Texas, like Utah, like Arizona. What happens to every state when they get more populated? They tend to slide more progressive. The more people you bring into your state, the more progressive your state seems to get. With the exception, weirdly, of Florida. Like I don't know what's going on in Florida. I have no fucking idea. Somehow Florida is able to operate in a vacuum. I don't get it. Everything you know about politics, like there are certain things that are easy to predict, except in Florida. Whatever you guys are doing out there in Florida, it might be old people, I don't know. But whatever you're doing in Florida is wild because none of the normal rules apply to you. But everywhere else, as a population increases, like as you get more people moving into your state, you turn more progressive. That's just how it works. And that's what we're talking about here in Texas, is a state that is becoming more progressive. You're looking at New York. I'd have to look at how they're planning on redistricting in New York and California. But same with Ohio. Ohio's becoming more progressive, and Ohio now is in there like, oh, we got to redistrict so we can save this. They wouldn't be redistricting if they thought they had the votes. They're only redistricting because they know they don't have the votes, and they've got to protect that. And they're concerned about losing the House. So they're cheating, and then Democrats are going to cheat. And then we're all just going to be like, we just allow ourselves to get fucked. I have said before, like, there is no option. If Mike Johnson does this, Democrats have no choice but to play the same game. What I would love to see out of Democrats is that they run on, hey, this is a rigged game, and yeah, our leaders are rigging it right now, and we're running on not being allowed, changing the rules so you can't gerrymander this way. That's what Democrats need to do. Like, if they want to have any sort of like moral high ground here, that's how they need to run. Republicans don't have that option. Republicans have no morality here. They're choosing to play this game. Democrats have not, to this point, Democrats have not chosen to do these I guess, what would you call it? There's a 10-year window. Every 10 years you do the census, and that's when you redraw districts. So we're in the middle of those 10 years. We're at like year 5 or 6. So I don't know what you would call that. But Republicans are choosing to do it now, and they're going to redistrict now rather than when they're supposed to. Democrats have no choice here. But it's incredibly frustrating to see somebody like Mike Johnson sitting here on Fox News with Brian Kilmeade just openly talking about how, you know what, we cannot trust the people. We cannot trust the voters. We need to rig the game so that the voters can't fuck us.
Law. I'm convinced the red states will, and we will probably have a few more seats out of that. And of course, that's good news for me.
I mean, the shit-eating grin there while you're talking about just like openly dismantling democracy is appalling. I can't stand Mike Johnson. I don't know how you get to be that person who just smiles while you talk about fucking your voter base. Now let's get to Scotland. Trump flew to Scotland. Here's Jen Psaki explaining what it was like for Trump to land in Scotland, running away from the Epstein stuff, but it's clearly going to follow him.
Immediately after getting off the plane today in Scotland, he was asked about Epstein. He clearly wants this trip to be his running away, across the pond, across the ocean, from the Epstein story. But it still followed him. This was Trump's view as his motorcade made its way to his golf course in Scotland today. One sign there reading, "Release the files, you lying jobby." I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, but jobby, Jobbie, which I learned today is Scottish slang for poop. So there's that. In case that's useful for anyone out there this weekend, now you know.
That was useful for me. I like that. I like jobby better than poop.
Jobby, poop. This man's sign reads, "This is not Pedophile Island. You are not welcome here." That's what it says. And then at his golf course itself, a sign reading "Twinned with Epstein Island" has been put beneath the golf course's actual sign. There it is. It looks like it's in similar type that took a lot of planning, and they attached it. It looks like it was meant to be there. Even the local elected officials were in on the trolling. Stephen Flynn, Aberdeen's entirely bald representative in the British Parliament, who you can see there in the photo, told the BBC that he would be busy washing his hair during Trump's visit. It's quite a troll. So while Trump is going to literally great lengths to try to get away from the Epstein story, it seems he's having a bit of trouble.
All right, let's get into it. You guys, sorry, if you didn't hear the audio, it might have just been coming out of one ear. It sounded like it was coming out both for me, but sometimes when I play these clips, the audio is just coming out of one ear, so sorry about that. I want to show you before we get to how he's approached something that nobody should be surprised of, and I've seen a lot of people talk about this, but Trump was caught cheating in his round of golf. Let me tell you this. I have never known anybody in my life who cheats at golf who doesn't cheat like with everything else. I played a lot of competitive golf, like a lot of competitive golf. And the one thing I know almost universally is the people who regularly cheat are bad human beings. There's a guy, I wish I would say his, honest to God, I would dox him. I would say his name if I could remember his name. If anybody here has ever played, there used to be a tour called the Golf Channel Am Tour, and then it changed to the US Am Tour. And there was this guy that played out of Los Angeles. And so I wouldn't play with him regularly, but I played tournaments in Palm Springs, Las Vegas. We had like our national championships one year in Florida, in Vegas once, in Arizona. And so I would only ever see this. His name is Sean. God, I wish I could remember his last name. He's a former cop. He cheats all the time. And everybody knew that he cheated. And then it was funny. Like, we found out later on he was removed from the police force because he was stealing money. And then it turned out he had like a mistress, and it was like none of us were surprised. When you cheat at golf, it's a game. If you're willing to cheat at golf, like, these are really small lies that you don't need to tell. Now, what happened here is Trump, and I'll play a video here from Rick Riley in a minute, but Trump is notorious for being a golf cheat. He claims that he's won a bunch of club championships. He claims that he is a very good golfer. Now, I am a scratch or plus handicap golfer. I have never won a club championship, ever. I've been runner-up, and I've been top 5 a few times. I've never won a club championship. And we're not, where I play, it's not a huge club. We have some good players, better than me. But Trump winning a club championship as a regular adult, as like a 6 handicap, is crazy. Trump has only been on the record scoring wise a few times. When he met Stormy Daniels, he was playing in this golf tournament in Reno. It's like a celebrity tournament they play every year. And Donald Trump came in, and he would finish like bottom third of the field every single time. But he would claim that he was like a scratch golfer and that he was winning all these titles. The guy couldn't break 80. He would shoot in the 90s on a golf course that's like set up to be easy for him. He's not a great golfer. What Donald Trump's really good at is he's really good at driving the golf ball, like off the tee. It's because he has his move. He like pins his arm to himself, drags it inside, and then he turns his body. So it's like a really stable movement. So he hits the ball off the tee really well. It's also a terrible movement for chipping and putting, which he's fucking awful at. But this video you'll see, these are the 4 caddies. Trump's driving. These people are supposed to find his ball. You'll see this guy in here in the blue. And this guy here, the 4 caddy, they're going to look for Trump's ball. Trump's caddies were regularly nicknamed Pele because they would find his ball and they would kick it back into the fairway, or his ball would go in the water and then they would miraculously find it in the grass. And Trump does this. He has them do it and he tips them really well, so he doesn't get accused of cheating. But you're going to see Trump cheat right here. You'll see this guy right here in the blue. I'm going to mute this, actually. Matter. He's going to be, they're looking for Trump's ball, and you'll see out of his right hand, you'll see him just like toss a ball out, and then Trump will get out of the cart. Right there. And now Trump sees it, and off he goes. He's going to go play this ball. That's the guy. No, he's in a blue jacket with red. There it is again. There's the ball. And here's Trump just acting like he didn't just fucking cheat. No, this is just me. This is totally what we do. One more time. And there's the ball. I just want to show that because I'm petty. And I'm gonna talk about being petty. Here's Rick Riley. Here's Trump making this claim. Rick Riley tweeted this. Here's Trump saying he won 35 club championships. I know so many good golfers. There's a guy who's a legend in Arizona named Steve Dallas. And he's in his mid-70s now, but he was one of the best players in Arizona for like 30 years. And he played at our club, and he's won maybe like 10 to 12 club championships. He's better than Trump has ever been. He's better now than Trump is now, and he's won like 10 to 12. He's like one of the most decorated amateur golfers ever in the state of Arizona. Here's Trump lying.
When are you going to come out here and hit some golf balls? When you find time in your schedule.
35 club championships. You don't know that.
I know that.
35 club championships. I haven't hit a ball in 3 weeks, 4 weeks.
Time to get out there.
35 club championships. Let's have I'm gonna have Rick Riley explain it here. This is Rick Riley. This is a little bit long, and then I'll get to the Epstein stuff. But I read this book. It's called Commander in Cheat. If you like golf and you like politics, it's a great book. Rick Riley's not a political person. He's a sports writer. I once met him in Boston. Incredibly nice guy. I've always been a huge fan of Rick Riley. I met him in an elevator on our way to the Red Sox game, and then he just came and sat with us during the Red Sox game. He's a super nice guy. So I've actually spent some time with him. I read this book, which is incredible, and here's him talking about Trump the cheat.
The book has done pretty well. We had 4 weeks on the New York Times bestseller list, or as Trump would say, 4 years. Because with Trump, you always get the Trump bump. Like when I was playing with him, he would like introduce me as, hey, because
Because if someone's a little bit famous, he wants to make them sound really famous, and then he gets some residual fame rub off it or something. And so he'd be like, this is Rick Riley, managing editor of Sports Illustrated. Like, and then the next guy, this is Rick Riley, publisher of Sports Illustrated. I'm like, no. And like, hey, Rick, meet Luigi. He was voted best hamburger chef in the world. And the guy's like, no. It's just funny how he does that. I saw Lee Trevino one day, great golfer. And I said, did you ever play with Trump? He goes, no. I played one of his courses. He played the Florida course. And I was showered, got dressed, and I was leaving. And he saw me. Lee Trevino, greatest golfer of all time. And Trevino's like, what'd you shoot out here, Lee? And Lee goes, I shot 73. Oh, let me introduce you around. So he's schlepping Trevino around. This is Lee Trevino, greatest golfer of all time. Just shot a 69.
For anybody, nobody has ever accused Lee Trevino of being the greatest golfer of all time, just so we're clear. He's also the guy, he's in Happy Gilmore. He's a little short guy wearing a Top Flight hat in the Happy Gilmore movie, but nobody's ever said he was the best golfer of all time, ever.
And Lee's like, what? And the next guy's like, Lee Trevino, winner of 14 majors. Just shot a 65. Like, what? And Trevino said, Rick, I had to leave there before I set the course record. Trump does it. Trump does the Trump bump with everything. Do you realize that Trump Tower is known as a 58-story building, but it's really only 48 stories? He skipped the 20s because he wanted his building to be taller than the GE building down the street, which is 54 actual stories. But the Trump, so he just skipped, and now the 58th floor is the top floor, and you're like, that's crazy. But what's the harm? And at that time, he wasn't running the world, so it was like everything with him. He's like, you're crazy, let's write it down.
That's incredible. I had forgotten about that he just like tells you his building's taller. It's just not.
But it wasn't funny when there was a fire 2 years ago there, and the fire department came, and they said, where's the floor? It's on the fire, 44th floor. No, we see one on the 34th floor. And because of the tent, they couldn't find the fire. And so, like, what are you doing?
He does sound like Newsom. I've never even thought of that, Brooke. He does sound a lot like Newsom.
Everything gets exaggerated, but kind of in a weird way. I remember being in his Trump Tower apartment. It's just like coated with gold toilets and gold everything, right? And in the corner, I mean, it's an incredible apartment. 270-degree views.
I'll never hear it differently now. Now I just feel like I'm listening to Gavin Newsom. That's devastating. Because I love Rick Riley, and I don't like Gavin that much.
Corner is a telescope, and it's gold. And so I said, can I look through it? And he said, go ahead. So I started looking through it, and he said, you know, I saw the World Trade Center towers fall down through that telescope. And I go, oh my God, that's horrible. And he goes, yeah, that's pure gold. Really? That's your takeaway from seeing all that? I mean, it's just kind of how he is. It's him or not. I remember once going to his office, Riley, sit down, I got something to show you. And he slaps down a yellow laminated card. And it says, bearer eats free at any McDonald's in the world. And he goes, only me, Michael Jordan, and Mother Teresa has that card. Like, really? Really, Donald? So I'm supposed to believe right now at the Calcutta McDonald's, Mother Teresa's wheeling her little station wagon through there, rolling. I will have 10,000 chicken sandwiches. I mean,
what if that's why he liked McDonald's so much? He was just like cheap as shit. He just wanted to get free food.
Give me a break, Donald. I would always say that. Give me a break. He was like, he would, but and then it didn't really matter. Like you can look up right now and see his handicap is a 2.8. Now you can also look up and see that Jack Nicklaus's handicap is 3.6. Now, if you had to sweep the streets of Moscow the rest of your life, who would you bet on? Trump at 2. If he's at 2.
If any of you don't know, Jack Nicklaus is the greatest golfer of all time, and he's about Trump's age. When Jack Nicklaus was a professional, he was probably like a +5, +6, +7, something like that, which basically is like the way a handicap works for anybody who doesn't know. Golf has like a score. The total score is par. Like the average score is par. So like at the golf course I play at, the par is 72. It should take you 72 shots. So like a par 4, it takes 4 shots. A par 3, it's 3 shots. Par 5 is 5. You add that all up, it's 72. Your handicap is basically it's a little more complex than just the average, but it's basically your score relative to par. So when he says he's a 2.8, that means that he shoots like a 74.8 on average, and that the greatest player ever would shoot like a 75 on average. But at this time, on the plus side, that would have meant like if like when Nicklaus was a +6, that would mean he would shoot like 6 under. So his average score would be like 66. So that's what they're talking about here. But Trump, who could not, and when I say he would go to that tournament in Lake Tahoe, he would go as a 2.8 handicap, and he would shoot 90, which is 18 over par. That would put him at an 18 handicap. He's nowhere near a 2 handicap. He's lying all the time about his handicap.
0.8, Queen Elizabeth is a pole vaulter. I mean, it's just unbelievable the lies he tells. And he somehow gets away with them. I didn't even want to write this book. That's the weird thing about this. I was retired. I was living half the year in Italy. I was setting the world pasta record or whatever I was doing over there, doing nothing. It was 2016. And I kept seeing tweets from Trump and speeches from Trump and video from Trump on campaign going, the reason I'm a winner. The reason you should vote for me is I'm a winner. I've won 18 club championships, and that's against the best players.
So somehow, by the way, while he's campaigning in 2016, he's won 18 club championships. Then after his presidency, he now has won 35. So he's won 17 club championships since he's been president. I don't know about that.
In all the clubs. That's against the young guys. That's with no strokes. And I'm like, you liar. You told me how you did it once. And he forgets that he accidentally tells the truth, and then he goes with the lie. Like right now, he keeps telling people his dad was born in Germany. I have no idea why. His dad was born in Queens. But anyway, so he's like, I'm like, you liar, you told me how you do it. He said, whenever I open a new club, like buy a new club, I play the first round with me and Melania, and she's not gonna beat me, so I'm the club champ. And that's how he won 12 of those 18 club championships. I'm like, that's so diabolically.
So we're clear, that's not how any club championship I've ever heard of works. You all get together, you all play on the same day, and whoever has the best. And sometimes it's a weekend. Some people do like a match play tournament. There's different ways to do it. The one way I've never heard of determining a club champion is a guy plays with his wife and declares himself the club champion. That's the only time I've ever heard that.
Clever, it's really smart, but it's also kind of wrong. So I started looking into this, like, well, maybe this is an article for SI or something. So I started checking into the others that he'd won. And I found out he won the Bedminster club championship once when he was in Philadelphia. He played Trump Philadelphia. And then at the end of the day, called them and said, hey, what won the club championship today? And they said, Morty Schwartz shot a 75. And he's like, I shot 73 up here. Make me the club champ. And the guy's like, it's a pretty good one, Mr. Donald. And he's like, no, make me the club champ. And so poor Morty Schwartz got yanked off, and Trump goes up.
In a different state. Lord knows, we don't even know if he played that day. God knows he was cheating that day. We have no idea. He just rips the club championship away from somebody else and is like, I won. I don't know how to explain like how fucking stupid this is. This is like, how would you even explain? This is like somebody calling in after Michael Jordan hits that final shot in Utah, wins his 3rd straight championship. And then you get a call from Charles Barkley, and it's like, you know what? I was playing Nintendo 64. I was playing Kobe Bryant's NBA Jam. I forget what Kobe Bryant's was called. I forget what Courtside maybe. I was playing Nintendo 64, and I actually beat the Jazz in 5, so I'm the NBA champion. Like this is absurd. The shit that he lies about is absurd, and I'm only showing this for 2 reasons. And the first reason is to remind you that people who lie about everything lie about anything will lie about everything. And secondly, I'm kind of a petty bitch, and I think it's funny, so I'm showing it.
He's been doing it even as president. He's now up to 20. He won the Trump Mar-a-Lago Golf Course Club Championship when he was in Singapore with Kim Jong-un. How do you pull that off? And here's what he did. They played it in Florida.
These participation trophies, they might be. Is that what they are?
Florida. He couldn't be there. He was in Singapore. He got back. A month later, he sees the guy that won, a guy named Ted Virtue. He was the money guy behind Green Book. And he's a nice guy, and he's playing with his son. And here comes Trump. Now, when you play with the president, there's about 30 golf carts, as we all know, since we've all had to pay for them. And Trump has this super...
Lisa said, because Jen is awesome at collecting for the gift goal. I don't envy your job. Thank you. And Jen must be guilting you guys in the chat. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Fast golf cart at every course he goes, which is one reason why the Secret Service has to pay so much for golf carts, because they have to get really fast ones to keep up. That's what part of the expense is. So and so you got the nuclear football, you got the Trump dump thing, which is, it looks like a portalet, and then they could shove him in there if there's a bomb, and there's the guy that's got the vials of blood, and the red phone, and the chief of protocol, and this and that. So it's like 40 golf carts. And here's this guy who'd won the club championship, playing with his son, and here comes this armada of golf carts. And here comes, well, Ted, good job winning the club championship. And Ted goes, well, thank you, Mr. President. But you didn't win it because you didn't play me. And Ted's like, ha, that's a good one. No, you didn't play me. We're going to play right now. Like, what? No, we're going to play these last 6 holes. Whoever wins is the real club champion. This is the President of the United States saying this. And Ted goes, well, thanks anyway, but I'm playing with my son. He can play. So they played a 6-hole tournament. They get to the 15th hole, par 3. Kid hits it on. Ted hits it on. Trump hits it in the water. They see the ripples. Middle of the pond, see the ripples. Trump always hits first, jumps in his super turbo Mario Kart, zips ahead, and you're always, like when I play with him, you hit, and if you're the last guy, you got to catch up because he's 200 yards up there. He's kicking it. He kicks the ball so much they call him Pele. The Caddies call him Pele. So by the time they get there, Trump is lining up the kid's putt, and the kid's like, "Hey, Mr. President, that's my ball." And Trump's caddy, of course, because he tips well, goes, "No, that's the president's ball. Yours went in the water." And they're like, "What?" And, "Yep, this is the president's ball." And Trump's already hit the putt. And the kid goes, "Dad, that was a brand new ball." "I guess we'll buy you a new ball." And so Trump wins, and that's how he won his 20th club championship. So,
which somehow has again become 35. Somebody asked, is this a Trump-hating channel? Today it is. Today we're taking just a slight break, and we're going to talk about how Donald Trump is a dirtbag running from the Epstein files. Don't worry, we'll be to that in a minute. But yeah, right now we're being petty.
How crazy is this? So that's what got me writing the book. And so then people just started telling me these stories. For instance, he doesn't just make his score better, he makes yours worse. I think one of Dante's circles of hell is for that. Because,
I don't know who's running the camera
instance,
here, but sorry.
At Trump Philly, Mike Tirico, the NBC announcer, is playing with John Gruden and Sean McDonough. And it's Gruden and Trump against McDonough and Tirico. And Tirico's about a 13 handicap, and he hits this great 3-wood above a hill to a blind par 5, and it's the shot of his life. And the caddy's whooping, and Tirico's whooping, and he's all excited. And when they get there, ball's nowhere to be found. So Tirico checks the hole. That's how good the shot is. Not in the hole. They're looking all over, find it in the bunker, 55 feet left of where the line was. And like, what? And they check, and it's his, and he leaves it in the bunker, hits another crappy one, makes a double when he was probably going to make birdie. And so he paid Trump his $25 because Trump always wins. There's no beating the guy. And then they're in the parking lot. The caddy came up and said, oh, hey, you know, on that shot, Trump kicked it in the bunker. President of the United States. And so,
listen, I got to tell you, like, nobody wants to play with this guy. This is why Trump doesn't have any friends. Like, he uses his fame to get people to play with him, but like, this is why people don't play golf with him. Nobody wants to play with the cheater. Anybody who's played a lot of golf, we all know one guy like this, and nobody wants this guy around. This guy is a pariah. That's who Trump is. He is an absolute pariah. There's a reason the PGA Tour stripped him of even having a tournament at his place. There's a reason golf course designers won't work with him, because he's just a cheater.
Hit in the pond in LA at a country club. Friends of mine were playing with him. And of course, Mario Kart, he's out there 200 yards ahead. And like, they saw the ball go in the pond, but by the time they get there, it's in the middle of the fairway. They're like, Donald, what are we doing? This is a $50 bet. And Donald goes, must have been the tide.
That's a little funny. That's funny by Donald.
I mean, it's insane. It's insane. And now he's the most powerful man in the world. People always ask me, yeah, but Clinton cheated. Well, yeah, I played with Clinton during his presidency, and yeah, he cheated. He cheated.
Yeah, and what do people think about Clinton's integrity? Yeah, not good.
A lot. But it's like the difference, if you go into a bank and steal the pen versus going in and stealing the vault, because first of all, Clinton doesn't bet, or at least he didn't bet that day, and he just wants to play and never gets to play. So, for instance, he has 24 clubs in his bag, which is 10 over the limit. Yeah. That's a lot. And then Clinton always plays his first shot, so he never takes any mulligans, but he takes billigans. We called them billigans because he would hit the first shot and then second, third, fourth, just for practice. 5, 6 shots sometimes. And then he'd always play the first one, but then I noticed he could never quite remember where his first one was. And then every Secret Service guy wants to be ambassador to Sweden someday, so he'll be like, I'm pretty sure it's next to the pin, Mr. President. Like, wow, fantastic. So we got the Secret Service, we got SWAT team guys on a golf course. Like, what are they going to do? They're going to wrestle down.
All right, that's basically where I wanted to leave it. He tells some more Trump stories. I highly recommend that book, Commander in Cheat by Rick Riley, or you can watch the rest of that speech. But the book, Rick Riley's writing style is much better than his delivery. So on audiobook, and he reads his audiobook too. So if you like it on Audible, go check that out. That's just a reminder that Trump is a cheater, and he went to Scotland and started cheating as soon as he got there. Jen, take it. I got to pee so bad anyways. This is perfect timing.
All right.
All
right. Painful. Okay. So we are hour and a half, hour and 40 minutes left of the show. So we've got a little more time left. The gift goes a little ways away, but I think we can do better. So if you guys can help us out, Venmo, Cash App, PayPal, Super Chats, all go towards knocking down that gift goal balance. This is our job, and so to keep the lights on and doing it each day, we need to hit that gift goal. So if you guys could help us do that. I mean, I will do the guilting, but I mean, you guys could just make it easier for me. I wouldn't complain about that. So that would be cool too. If you haven't already subscribed to us, please do so. Pretty much wherever you're watching. On Twitch, you can use the Amazon Prime sub. Use Bezos is the money. On YouTube, we've got 4 different memberships. Or you could do a regular subscription that's for free. We do have member-only events. So if you're a subscriber, paid subscriber on one of the platforms, you can join those with us. Also, if you guys disagree with our TV on anything, you guys can come up and talk to them. How you do that is the Venmo username is my Discord. So you can DM me on Discord, and I can bring you on to talk to Jay in real time. So Jen, Dub1, and I can bring you up to talk to him. Check out our link tree. We're on most social media platforms. We've got merch. Jay's on Cameo. We upload these episodes to Spotify, and I didn't look at see what our metrics are for that, but we are working on becoming a partner on Spotify. So we needed 2,000 viewers to go watch an episode. I have to go look at those numbers, see where we're at, but 2,000 individual members to go watch an episode, and also we need 10,000 hours. So if you guys could, head over to our Spotify, turn on an episode if you want to walk away and let it run separately somewhere. That works. That would help us out. And I think I got all of those.
Well done.
What do you call an alligator that's really fast?
I don't know.
An instigator.
I don't know. I don't know about that one. Thanks, Jen. Marguerite said, just here to support. Thank you, Marguerite. Jabbar said, I won the Nobel Peace Prize in 1977, but I was born in 1988. That's all right. Just say it enough times, and some of these dipshits in the audience will believe you. You just have to say it multiple times, and then they're cool with it. I want to show you. Let's see. Yeah. Here's how things kicked off with Trump. He lands in Scotland, and he finally has an opportunity to speak to the press, and he rambles incoherently. I don't know what happened to Donald Trump. I don't know if he got bullied by a windmill. I have no clue why this guy hates windmills so much, but anytime he has an opportunity to get really angry about windmills, he does it. And it leads me into some Google searches that I'm always surprised. Like, I can't believe I'm Googling this. I can't believe I'm researching this. But here's Trump at Turnberry. By the way, fun fact about Turnberry that's in Rick Riley's book is Trump bought Turnberry, which is, he didn't design Turnberry. It was it's kind of like in rural Scotland. It's a destination place. It's not big hotels. It's kind of a golfer's paradise. It's like it's a purist golfers that like it. They like it because it's like links style. I don't know how to explain that. American golf and European golf is different. European golf, they allow like the natural fescue or the natural grasses to grow taller. They allow their courses to be brown. Their bunkers are built differently. It's very windy. Generally it's more firm. The greens roll slower, but they're bigger greens. It's just a different type of golf. They call it link style golf. And Turnberry is one of those places that they've held multiple, like I think Ryder Cups and British Opens. It's rich with history. Trump bought it maybe 15 years ago, and Trump is the most tacky guy ever. Like, go look at the Oval Office now. The amount of gold that's in there, it's incredibly tacky. If you've ever stayed at one of his hotels, it's just gold, 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 gold. It's not real gold. It's all gold plated or spray painted gold. But one of the things that happened is Trump came in and he likes to have, for the finishing hole on every course that he owns, he likes to have a waterfall feature. And that's just like, you have a green, and then behind the green, he'll build like this artificial waterfall. And he just likes that for some reason. I'm not sure why. He tried to do it at Turnberry, and they basically, the whole town boycotted him. And they sued him. And they have sued and beat him multiple times at Turnberry. He's tried to put up like, he's tried to get people to take down a lighthouse because he didn't like that it blocked the view. And he's also upset that there's some windmills out there. And he's tried over and over again to sue Turnberry to remove the windmills. And they're just like, dude, shut the fuck up. So nobody cares about, he has no real leverage over there. It's not like in America. He's tried to force them to allow him to do tacky things. And every time Turnberry's like, no thanks. You're not going to ruin like a legitimate piece of history by making it tacky. But here he is in Turnberry with Ursula von der Leyen, who is the European Commission president.
As Europeans, we will fulfill our international obligations.
You're just scared you'll lose to Trump, Jay. I am 100% confident that on my worst day, I would beat Trump at golf if somebody had to watch him. If like he wasn't allowed to cheat. But if he's allowed to cheat on my worst day, he could probably get me.
As we've done in the past, also in the future, that we as Europeans are the ones who decide who comes to the European Union and under what circumstances, and not the smugglers and traffickers. That's the principle in which we are working.
Also, one more thing. I also understand it's not a flex to say that I could beat an 80-year-old man at golf. So I don't want it out there saying that I think that is some sort of achievement. He's that bad. He's that old. His age has a lot to do with it.
I will say this, they did ask me when I got off the plane, immigration, Europe has a tremendous problem, and we do too, but we've sealed our borders. We have nobody coming in, and we have hundreds of thousands of people being taken out, and the bad ones first, and I think we're doing a very good job of that. But
Excuse me, what was that? Was that the bad ones first? It's crazy what this guy will just lie about. We let it into golf, but that's obviously not true. We know the numbers. It's like 75-80% of the people that we're deporting. It's not the bad ones first. It is crazy how easy it is for this guy to just throw lies out there, and none of you fucking care. He's like, everybody lies. I love being lied to, especially by an 80-year-old man.
It literally registered 0 people last month. You probably saw that. Nobody.
Is that true? Can we look that up? Jen, will you see if the United States, I guess he's talking about encounters. Can you just figure out what that claim is? There's no chance that there were 0 encounters at the southern border, unless they're just not counting them anymore. There's no chance that that's true. Also, for those of you, if you're lagging over on TikTok, go to YouTube. We're doing it live on YouTube as well, so just head over there. And then quick update, Kristen Lee in first place now, top viewers on TikTok with Popular Monster, Nano Good, Rasta Ranch, and Shan's rounding out the top 5 there. So make sure you're continuing to gift and liking and sharing it. That'll keep us from TikTok banning us.
And Europe has a very similar problem. I think they're going to end up in the same place. You might as well go there quicker. And the other thing I say to Europe, we will not allow a windmill to be built in the United States. They're killing us. They're killing the beauty of our...
Raise your hand if you've been hurt by windmills. What is he talking about? Why are windmills? How are windmills killing us? Also, we can build windmills. I don't understand any of this. Yes, you can build windmills. No, they're not stopping it. And no, they're not hurting us. No, they're not killing us. I just don't. Fax just messaged me. Good to see you, Steve. Said that Trump's anger stems from Turnberry. I didn't know that that's where it stemmed from. I assume that's true by fax. But yeah, he's been upset about some windmills and a lighthouse blocking the view forever, and that seems to be his major point of contention. But this idea that we don't have windmills in the United States, you can't build them, and that they're killing us is just, there's no evidence to any of that. It's so bizarre for him to lie about such insane things.
Scenery, our valleys, our beautiful plains, and I'm not talking about airplanes, I'm talking about beautiful plains, beautiful areas in the United States, and you look up and you see windmills all over the place. It's a horrible thing. It's the most expensive form.
Listen, I've driven on I-80 from Utah to the East Coast, and I can tell you that when you drive through Nebraska and Kansas and Iowa, it's nice to see a windmill every once in a while. Otherwise, you see nothing. It's just a straight line of horizon. It's nice to have something pop up. I don't share his anger at windmills. I don't understand anything that he's talking about here. In fact, driving through Wyoming on I-80, literally the only thing worth looking at driving through Wyoming on I-80 is the windmills. If you've ever driven from Evanston to Rock Springs and then past that on to Cheyenne, there's nothing. There's not even vegetation. It is just sagebrush, brown dirt, and occasionally you'll see some cows or antelope. But the windmills are actually the coolest part. There's a couple sections where that's pretty cool. Same with the drive from where I live in Arizona to LA. When you leave Palm Springs, you drive through this kind of, it's where the first road winds. You drive as you're going into down to LA, and there's all these windmills. It's a really cool spot. It's something to look at right there, instead of just, if you've ever been to Palm Springs, it's just wind and sand. That's all Palm Springs is. It's tough to look at.
Form of energy. It's no good. They're made in China, almost all of them.
Oh, don't worry, Devo. He'll get to the fucking wells. She said, what about the wells? No windmills. Save the wells. How do we have 3.5 more years of this? I don't know.
When they start to rust and rot in 8 years, you can't really turn them off. You can't bury them. They won't let you bury the propellers, you know, the props, because there's a certain type of fiber that doesn't go well with the land. That's what they say.
Yeah, I looked this up. But real quick, Adam said Trump supporters would happily sit in the cuck chair for Trump to lie to them and fuck their wives and daughters. Unfortunately for them, his dick doesn't work. Jesus Christ. All right. I looked it up. He's talking about carbon fiber. And apparently they do have a hard time breaking down, but they don't degrade the soil. So this is partially correct that it doesn't break down. But that's what he's talking about. He's talking about carbon fiber.
Fiber that doesn't go well with the land. That's what they say. The environmentalists say you can't bury them because the fiber doesn't go well with the land.
Yet nobody says that because not everybody's a fucking dipshit. Nobody has ever said the fibers don't go well with the land. They said that they don't break down. That's what they said. It's amazing when you can give somebody something so simple like President Trump. Carbon fiber doesn't break down, and he's like, I'll remember that. And then when he gets there, he's like, you can't put them in the ground because the fiber doesn't mix well with the ground. Okay. And I had to look it up. I never thought I would have to look up, can you bury a windmill? I think I said, like, if you bury a windmill, will it degrade the soil? And even I used AI. They're like, come on, man. No, here's what it is.
In other words, if you bury it, it will harm our soil. The whole thing is a con job. It's very expensive. And in all fairness, Germany tried it, and wind doesn't work. You need subsidy for wind, and energy should not need subsidy. With energy, you make money. You know.
This is what I love. Do we make money on energy as a federal government? No, we don't. Do we give subsidies for energy? Yes, we do. Or do we give subsidies to the fossil fuels industry? Yes, we do. This is a real look into Donald Trump's hatred for renewable energy, because what he's trying to tell you right here is we don't subsidize our energy over here. You have to subsidize renewable energy. We subsidize the fuck out of oil. There's way more oil subsidies than renewable energy subsidies. Way more.
I'll lose money. But more important than that is it ruins the landscape. It kills the birds.
More important than that. More important. It's the landscape and the birds.
They're noisy. You have a certain place in the Massachusetts area that over the last 20 years had 1 or 2 whales wash ashore. And over the last short period of time, they had 18. Okay? Because it's driving them low.
Remember when he used to say this was in North Carolina? All right, here's what we have. There has been a notable increase in whale strandings, especially of humpback whales, along the Atlantic coast since 2016. The NOAA fisheries say there's an ongoing unusual mortality event. The possible causes are linked to vessel strikes and entanglement in fishing gear. Others suggest a shift in food availability and other environmental factors. Not one person. In fact, we can look this up. I'm Googling, do windmills... Guys, we're looking up, do windmills kill whales? Here's a BBC fact check here. I haven't read it. Let's see what it has to say. Is there evidence linking whale deaths to wind turbines? There's no evidence to back Mr. Trump's suggestion that offshore wind turbines are killing whales. NOAA officials carried out post-mortem examinations on about 90 humpback whales found dead since 2016. 40% of those deaths were linked to human interaction, whales becoming entangled in fishing nets or being struck by vessels traveling through their feeding grounds. In the remaining cases, other factors were listed as possible causes of death, including parasite-caused organ damage or starvation. In some cases, the advanced stage of decomposition of the carcass meant it was impossible to conclusively determine the cause of death. We know what the main threats are to humpback whales. It's very much the impact from things like fishing and ship strikes. To talk about wind farms being a problem takes away discussion around the very real threats that are a problem for those species. Can offshore wind farms affect marine life? They say there's no known links between large whale mortality rates and offshore wind surveys. But that doesn't mean wind farms come at no cost for natural habitats. Before offshore wind farms are built, the ocean floor needs to be surveyed by sending acoustic waves into it. Some activists have in the past suggested that using such techniques might lead to well deaths. There's a lot of evidence that when you're putting the wind farms in place, it does generate a lot of percussive noise, and that can have an impact, particularly things like porpoises or dolphins. They may move out of that area while you're installing the wind farms, but then the longer term picture, in some areas they never come back, in some they come back in larger numbers than before. So Trump read something like 30 years ago, I think is what we've learned, is that like when we first started doing this, there must have been some article he read that was like the noise, because you remember he says like the noise kills the whales. He must have read that and then just hung on to that forever. And because he's such a prominent and not to be fucked with figure in the GOP, nobody's bothered just being like, dude, stop this. Stop. This is embarrassing. He's like, no, I'm going to go over to Scotland and I'm going to say this same dumb shit over there. We need to sweep the floors of the ocean. That's right. Where's the rake? Where's the fucking ocean rakes? That's what we need. We got to rake the ocean.
And over the last short period of time, they had 18. Okay?
It's 25.
It's driving them loco. It's driving them crazy. Now, windmills will
Shout out to Afton Ben, our Nashville Dem rep who's running for Congress. She's giving us hopes. Thanks, Jeremy.
not come. It's not going to happen in the United States. And it's very expensive. And I would love to see. I mean, today I'm playing the best course, I think, in the world, Turnberry. Even though I own it, it's probably the best course in the world, right? And I look over the
literally nobody says
horizon,
that.
And I
There's
see nine.
nobody thinks that Turnberry is the best golf course in the world or even in Europe. I think it would probably make like the top 10 courses in Europe, but I don't even think it would be there. Like you'd probably look at Finca Cortison, which is in Spain, Valderrama in Spain, Lofoten Links in Norway, of course, St. Andrews, Carnoustie. I don't. You know what? It probably doesn't even make the top 10 in Europe. It's just crazy what this guy lies about. I've never heard one single person ever say that they thought Turnberry was the best golf course in the world or Europe. I've never heard anybody say that.
Windmills. Like,
is it the best in Scotland? Let's see how it ranks. Best courses in Scotland. Let's go to Golf Digest. Golf Digest. Which is, by the way, Golf Digest will take money too to rank your course. Let's see. So this could be an opportunity for him. Oh, that's way down there. They're giving me 40 courses. Let me try a different one. Let's try Golf Monthly. It's 25. I don't need 25 courses. Top ranked. Does Scotland have 2 T's or one? It's just 1 T. All right. Royal Donich is number 1. Muirfield is number 2. Oh, this is the UK. This isn't just. Trump Turnberry comes in at 3. It is beautiful, in all fairness. I would love to go play Turnberry. I might wait until after he dies, and hopefully somebody else will buy it.
great. At the end of the 18th, I said, isn't that a shame? What a shame. You have the same thing all over Europe in particular. You have windmills all over the place. Some of the countries prohibit it, but people ought to know that these windmills are very destructive. They're environmentally unsound. Just the example.
Nobody can get mad at us for covering golf today when the guy, your president, flew all the way across the world to talk about how dangerous windmills are. Like, what are we doing here?
Exact opposite, because the environmentalists, they're not really environmentalists. They're political hacks. These are people that they almost want to harm the country. But you look at these beautiful landscapes all over the world. Many countries have gotten smart. They will not allow it. They will not. It's the worst form of energy, the most expensive form of energy.
Yeah. I don't know where he's getting, what's the most expensive form of energy. I have no idea where he's pulling that number from. Maybe he's saying like it's expensive to build them, and then he's not factoring in renewable energy. I have no idea. Windmills are a disaster. Why? How much? Let's look at LA. Like How much power do the windmills in Palm Springs generate? Oh, I've Googled this before. The windmills in Palm Springs generate approximately, this is according to Google, 600 million kilowatt hours of electricity annually. This is enough power to power almost the entire Coachella Valley, according to Palm Springs. That's big. That's not insignificant. If we go to maps, like Coachella Valley is Blythe. This is the Coachella Valley. Like, it's significant. There's a significant amount of people here. Look at all these greens. All the green, by the way, is golf courses. There's something like 200 golf courses in Palm Springs. But basically, all of the windmills are right here, and they're able to power all of this. That's impressive. That's honestly really impressive. All right, let me go back to the outline. All right, here was Mehdi Hasan. He went on Majority Report the other day. I still haven't watched this episode. He talked about his time on Jubilee with all the Nazis. Shout out Nazis if you're here. Stop being Nazis, would you? That'd be great. But they also had time to talk about Gaza. And a lot of this trip for Trump exposed how different our media and European media is. And they care a hell of a lot more about the atrocities happening in Gaza than our media does. But I did want to share this clip first from Mehdi Hasan on Majority Report. I think this was on Friday, to discuss just how politicians are now like trying to distance themselves. During the election, all the politicians, everybody on the right and probably 60% of the people on the left, or at least on the Democrats, were unwilling to like distance themselves from Israel. And now you see a scramble all across the political spectrum of people trying to distance themselves from Israel. And even Trump is like tepidly trying this. But what they're finding out is stuff that they should have known forever ago. It is devastating to watch politicians now be like, we're seeing the videos that are coming out of Gaza and it's heartbreaking. It's like, yeah, where the fuck have you been? These videos have been coming out of Gaza for at least, like, the stuff they're talking about now is like the starving children, the emaciated children. We've had that for at least a year. We've been seeing regular videos of that for at least a year. Why now? Why is it just now getting to you?
The reports out of Gaza, to the extent that we get them, you know, after the onslaught of targeting and killing hundreds of Palestinian journalists in Gaza, is that the food situation, the starvation, has become just critical.
You know, the Omar al-Akkad book title comes to mind. One day, everyone will always have been against this. And
Me, third time muted. Jesus Christ. Third time. This is rough for me today. I didn't even know I muted it. We've been saying this, but like years from now, all these Republicans that are in here that are talking about how much they love Trump, 20 years from now, they'll lie about this. They're not going to tell the truth about how much they supported Donald Trump, because once he's removed from the picture, it will be painfully obvious that he was lying about the dumbest shit. History will not remember Donald Trump well. These clips of Donald Trump talking about like windmills killing whales, these will live on. And all these folks in here that are like, oh yeah, I love him, he's great. You'll all fucking lie about it. Every last one of you will lie. And you will also lie and pretend that you didn't support the wholesale Republican agenda of genociding Gaza. You will all just pretend this didn't happen. You'll all pretend that you were on the right side of history the entire time, and you're not. You know that you're not. All of this will change, and you will all lie about it. And I think Mehdi Hasan's doing a good job pointing that out, that this is one of those points of history where we got a bunch of bitches, Republicans, a bunch of bitches, Trump supporters, who would rather just ignore a genocide than admit that their guy is facilitating it and is planning on financially benefiting from it. You will all pretend that you didn't support that the entire way through. You'll be like, no, I voted for him. I didn't know this was going to happen. You'll all lie.
I think we're seeing that in real time now. In the old days, you waited for, Iraq war finished, and then, everyone started to make their move and say, oh, I was always opposed to Iraq. Like Donald Trump pretends to have been opposed to Iraq. I think now with social media and with this genocide just never ending, people are doing it in real time and thinking we won't catch them. It's not just Hillary Clinton, who was very supportive of Israel. Her husband, if you remember, Bill Clinton, went to Michigan and lectured Muslims there about the Bible and the importance of supporting Israel before the election. That really helped Kamala Harris. But Amy Klobuchar this week.
Well, real quick, Sheila said, for power of big oil on YouTube equals windmill bashing. I'll check that out.
And on the floor of the Senate to condemn starvation in Gaza. The same Amy Klobuchar who a couple of weeks ago was smiling in a photo with Benjamin Netanyahu in D.C., the man who's responsible for the starvation in Gaza. So there she is. She didn't hide like Cory Booker tried to hide his face. She's very happily smiling there. So I think we've got to talk about how cynical this is. Look, I welcome anyone who changes their mind. I'm not somebody who says, the more the merrier. But let's just recognize the cynicism behind it. They didn't just wake up and suddenly realize this is bad. I do think it tells you a lot about how the arguments about defending Israel have all fallen apart. Because the arguments, if you remember, Sam and Emma, after October 7th was right to defend yourself, Hamas tunnels, they're not really killing civilians.
It's crazy when you still see like hacks like Chris Cuomo who are coming out, and they're still, I saw him, he had Adam Mockler on, and he's still doing the same shit. I'm like PTSD from the mute. They're still doing it like, does Israel have a right to defend itself? And you're like, dude, we passed that forever ago. Can we move on? And he'll just keep answering that question like it's a fucking gotcha. Like, we're watching the videos. This isn't Israel defending themselves. This is Israel committing a genocide. We're long past do they have the right to defend themselves? Because the answer is yes. I believe everybody has the right to defend themselves. Every country has the right to defend themselves. But like, if you punch me in the face, I don't get to burn down your house. I don't get to go wipe out your children. Defending myself is punching you back or covering up or something. But it's the offensive actions of Israel now. Like, that's no longer defense. And they haven't been defending themselves since like a week after October 7th. I think we could have given them some leeway there. I think a lot of us did. Like, we saw the videos that came out on October 7th. They were devastating. But how quickly that for those of us who kept watching after October 7th, I can tell you, at least on my end, I went from on October 7th, not knowing a great deal of the history between the Palestinians and the state of Israel. And I've learned more, still probably a lot that I'm missing. But in those moments, like, it didn't really matter to me that there was that history. Like, you could still look at those attacks on October 7th and you say, this is wrong. Like, you can't, you're ripping people from a concert. We saw what they did to some women, a lot of it exaggerated, fair enough. But like, it didn't take long for most of us who followed it every day to then be like, okay, yeah, we're past a normal reaction here. We're past like tit for tat. We're past defending ourselves. Within weeks, it was very clear that, oh God, they're going to go a lot further than this. And I remember specifically, those of you that are on TikTok, I saw he resurfaced. Moderate Democrat is back now, from what I see. I remember sitting in those lives and just watching Democrats say like, oh, this is justified. I stand with Israel, and being completely disgusted at the time, because it's been painfully obvious for a long time now that what Israel was doing is using October 7th as an excuse to annihilate the Palestinians, to clear Gaza, to carpet bomb Gaza and get rid of people so that they can then develop this land and sell it. There's already like groups of Zionists moving into Palestine, claiming land. The Israeli government has removed Palestinians from their own land in Palestine and given it to Israeli Zionists. They're already starting to give away some of this land. It's already begun. There's nothing defensive about that. There's no protecting yourself anymore. That shit's over. When I'm watching Food Lines, and there's a video I was going to show today, but it's not graphic, but like triggering, and I'm not sure what the rules of engagement are, but if you guys want to go look this up on Twitter, it's a video that somebody is taking while laying face down on the ground, and this is post an aid truck, and then once the people are leaving, if they don't move quickly enough, the Israelis are firing on anything that moves. And so you have hundreds of Palestinians playing dead in the sand because they didn't move quick enough to evacuate that area, and the Israelis have no time for that. So they're just firing, and you can hear the gunfire, and occasionally you'll hear like a bullet. You can hear the whizzing of a bullet. Like, that's how close it is. And these people are pressed into the ground trying to live. They're emaciated. They're starved. They may or may have not gotten aid from the aid trucks. And now they have to sit there and play dead until the Israelis decide to stop shooting at them, which could take hours. We are so far removed from Israel defending itself that, like, it's no longer even partisan. It is entirely flipped. In November during the election, I would say it was 90% of Republicans stood with Israel and 60% of Democrats. And I don't know where it is on the Republican side now, but it sure as shit isn't 90. It might be closer to 50 or 60, and it's completely flipped on our side of the aisle to where you have even Richie Torres last week is out there like, I don't know if I can defend this anymore. Like Richie Torres, when Richie Torres is having questions, you know you've gone too far. Fucking John Fetterman is starting to ask questions now. That's when you know you've gone too far, when you've lost those people.
It's Hamas human shields. None of that works when a baby is starving to death in front of your eyes. None of that works when a surgeon is saying, they won't let me take baby formula in. No one except a depraved sociopath can defend not taking baby formula into Gaza, blocking diapers and formula from Gaza. So it's indefensible. Literally, I know we throw around the word indefensible, but it's literally indefensible. No one can do it. You have Amit Segal, very pro-Netanyahu Israeli journalist, wrote a piece for the Free Press, for Barry Weiss's Free Press, pro-Netanyahu journalist saying, hunger's really bad in Gaza. We need to acknowledge that. So I think everyone now knows what's going on, and it becomes an issue of A, are you going to do anything about it? And B, are you going to pretend that you were on the right side rather than the wrong side of history?
Good. Zateo is Mehdi Hassan's new outlet. Somebody said, can you read my DM? I don't know. Adam said, I know I've landed a good comment when you say Jesus Christ and shake your head uncontrollably. We call that the Brie response. That's where it went. I can't read DMs while I'm live, and I generally don't read DMs on TikTok anyway. So if you want to get a message, send it to Jen, or you can super chat it or send to Venmo, Cash App, PayPal, and those ones will get through. But there's too many notifications on TikTok for me to ever go through them. Trump then, now with Keir Starmer, is asked, and this is why, God bless the British media, they're doing what our media won't do because our media is a bunch of cowards, are asked about Netanyahu. By the way, Netanyahu is just saying that they're not starving anybody, which is fucking crazy. Like, Netanyahu literally is like, we're not starving anybody. All those videos you're seeing, those aren't real. And so Trump is asked about that. At the beginning of this, there's going to be bagpipes. I apologize. I don't know if this is on purpose or not, but in previous visits to Turnberry, there have been locals in Turnberry who follow him around and play bagpipes so you can't hear him speak. I don't know if that's what's going on here, but if it is, I think that's funny.
Stand on immigration and taking.
Oh, maybe this isn't the video with the bagpipes. Sorry.
Strong stand on immigration is imperative. I don't know. I mean,
again, the question was, Netanyahu says there's no starvation in Gaza. Do you agree with that statement? This is an easy one. No. The answer is no, Trump.
Based on television, I would say not particularly, because those children look very hungry. But we're giving a lot of money and a lot of food, and other nations are now stepping up. I know that this nation is right.
It's
here.
a humanitarian crisis.
Right.
It's an absolute catastrophe, and nobody wants to see that. And I think people in Britain are revolted at seeing what they're seeing on their screens. So we've got to get to that ceasefire. And thank you, Mr. President, for leading on that, and also to just get more and more aid in. And again, America's done a lot on this. A lot of countries have done a lot. We're now working with Jordan on getting direct aid drops in, but this is a desperate situation.
Stand on immigration.
Now, I've had a hard time finding any evidence of what some of you are saying in here. the Republican talking point, and you can see who the dipshits are in here. If you ever wanted to know which Republicans here think for themselves and which ones are dipshits that just repeat dipshit shit that their dipshit dumb fucks tell them to repeat, look at the comments and see the dipshits that are saying that Hamas just steals the food. I have found no confirmed evidence that that's true, and you haven't either. You've just heard people say that. And this has been the defense. This is just running defense for Netanyahu being an evil genocidal maniac. There is no evidence that they are raiding the food trucks and selling it. I've heard it. I wouldn't be surprised if there are some people who stole the food off the food truck and then sold it at exorbitant fees. But to say that this is why food isn't getting to them, you have no evidence to back that up. That's just something that Zionists tell you to say. And all of this is just a way for you not to accept the fact that there's a genocide happening. That's all this is. This is all because you want to believe that you have a heart and that you're not a piece of shit. And because you don't want to be a piece of shit, but more important than being not being a piece of shit, you want to dick ride Donald Trump. You believe like the most bullshit stories possible. You will believe anything before you will believe that you and your side are complicit in a genocide. But I would just ask you for that evidence. If you're going to make a claim that the reason that these people are starving is because Hamas is coming in and they are stealing the aid, I just want some evidence of that, please. And if you're saying it and you don't have evidence, I would ask you why you believe it. I think it's because you don't want to admit that you're on the wrong side here. History will remember you as being on the wrong side, and luckily for you, nobody's going to go back and read these chats, so you're probably safe. But for now, we're just going to call you a low propensity voter. We're going to call you a low information voter. We're going to call you incurious and a dipshit. If you honestly believe that without evidence, you're just a dipshit. And if you want to present the evidence, you can message GenDub1 on Discord. We'll bring you up and we can hear you. For those of you who keep getting upset that I won't pay attention to you in the chat, there's a solution for that. Message Jen. You can come up on a phone call. I'm not going to sit here and argue with the chat all day long. You have an opportunity. Then Trump, let's see, is this the... Oh, let me go actually to CNN. CNN responding to this. Here is dipshittery in its most glorious form, Scott Jennings. And Scott Jennings is going to do what all good Zionists do. They're going to lie, and they're going to somehow blame Hamas for everything.
Human dignity.
Scott,
they were treated like animals.
Obviously,
animals.
The perpetrators of October 7th are despicable.
And they're still in charge.
Hold on. The perpetrators of October 7th are despicable. But the question is, are you holding a 3-month-old baby who is starving to death accountable for things that baby did not do?
No, I'm holding Hamas accountable.
Okay.
That is so stupid. That is so blatantly stupid. She's saying, "Are you they're killing children? Who's responsible for that?" If you can honestly say Hamas is responsible for that, fuck you. Fuck you. You do not have to kill children. You don't have to do that. You don't have to starve children. You don't have to shoot children. You don't have to shoot mothers. I was just reading a story this morning about an incredible feat by medical doctors in Palestine for giving a birth or completing the birth of a gestated 7-month-old fetus who now has survived. And they had to do this because the mother was shot. The mother died, was shot. And so they had to then deliver a baby from a dead mother. And you want me to say that's the fault of Hamas? No, this is what you do when you think that you have a soul, but you can't just call balls and strikes because you're a cucky little bitch that sits on CNN and your entire job is to wipe the ass of Donald Trump and Benjamin Netanyahu. And so when the people that are on your side are killing women and children, pregnant women, by the way, shout out pro-life party, you're going to blame somebody else. Not the people pulling the trigger, not the people issuing the orders, not the people occupying. None of that. No. This must be the fault of Hamas. That's what's sick. You can say that it is the fault of Hamas because that's how this war started. That's fine. But you cannot blame Hamas for the atrocities performed by the Israeli government and the Israeli military. You cannot blame them for killing innocent men, women, and children. You just can't. It's not part of war. It's not an unfortunate part of war. Most of these people never needed to die, and you killed them, and you don't feel bad about it at all. 80% of Israelis in a poll I just saw, Jewish Israelis, 80% of them, I was like 87%, say that you should wipe all Palestinians out of Gaza by any means necessary. That's sick. That's just sick. These are just human beings. Most of them have nothing to do with the attacks on October 7th. They're just trying their best to live. And we're at the stage now of starvation that even if we could get aid in there today, much of this you can't undo. Many of these people will die whether they get aid or not. Like the damage done to their organs at this point is irreversible, and many of these people are just going to die. They were going to live short, painful lives from here on out. And those that we can help will be forever not only physically impacted by this, but mentally and emotionally impacted by this. To say that these people are going to live normal lives after this is fucking insane. To imagine that they could possibly live a normal life after this. And this is what you guys are siding with. You're siding with it. Donald Trump could end this tomorrow. He said he was going to end it on day one. For all of you who say, I'm getting what I voted for, he said day one he would end this. We're nowhere near. Now he's saying finish the job. Now he's saying, sorry, it's just the way that it's going to go.
So that's why, you know what, that's why the question is so important here at this table. Look, I want to have this conversation with respect for everybody involved, but it's so important to remember that we are not talking about talking points. We are talking about human beings. And there are people who are starving, children who are starving in Gaza today who had absolutely nothing to do with what happened on October 7th. And I hope that there's a part in our minds that can hold those ideas together at the same time.
I can't go to Gaza, Jim Bob, you fucking dipshit. You know why I can't go to Gaza? Even if I wanted to go to Gaza, guess what? They won't let me in. I'm not allowed to go to Gaza. They won't let anybody in to report on this. And they kill doctors that come in anyways. It's crazy that you would come in here and you would say like, oh, well, if it's a big problem, go fix it. Why don't you care, Jim? Why don't you care that the children are being assassinated? The children are being starved to death. What kind of piece of shit are you that you don't care about that? How the fuck do you come up as a human being with the response, well, if you don't like it, go help? I can't. I'm not even allowed over there. They won't let anybody in. They won't let aid trucks in. They won't let journalists in because the journalists that come in tell the truth and then they just kill the journalists. So what do you want me to do? Try and sneak in there and get assassinated? And then what would you say, Jim Bob? Oh, you shouldn't have been there. Yeah, like the lack of humanity by some of you fucking pieces of shit. Fuck you. Like forever. You are scum. If you can look at children being starved and assassinated in the streets, fuck you. You're a dog shit human being. I don't know what to say. It's devastating that these type of humans live amongst us. How cush is your life that you can sit there and watch people be genocided and you're like, look, you shouldn't have been there. That's Trump's base. The heartless, fake fucking Christians.
Because if there is not, then I think that there's something being lost in terms of our collective humanity.
I believe everybody here at this table feels more pain for those kids than Hamas of their own kids.
Of course they do. Of course they do. But we are in the wealthiest country of the world. Israel is our ally and our partner. We have leverage here. The question is, why aren't we using it, Peter?
That is the question. That's what I can't figure out with you fuckers. Like, why don't we use our leverage? We could stop it. It's not like we have no power here. Israel they will cease to exist without us. They have fought every country around them, And they start these wars most of the time, by the way. They have attacked other countries when those countries haven't attacked them. Did Iran attack Israel? No. Did Israel attack Iran? Yes. We have all the leverage here, and we could use that leverage. We're left with some pretty tough explanations right now. Do they have so much power? Does Israel have so much power over our elected leaders that we're just helpless? There's nothing we can do? We can't stop funding them? We can't threaten them? We can't take our military in there? Like, we'll occupy any country we want to occupy in the Middle East. We'll fucking occupy it. But when it comes to time to stopping Israel from committing a genocide, suddenly, oh, well, it's not, what are we going to do? We just got to support Israel. They're our friends. They're our allies. If any of my friends, if you're one of my friends, if you think that I am the type of friend when you go and you commit a heinous crime, if you think I'm the friend that will cover for you, I got news for you. I'm not that friend. I don't think you should. I don't think anybody should be that friend. If somebody commits a heinous crime, throw them under the bus immediately. Just fucking immediately. I'm reminded of Lori Vallow, who just got like her third life sentence this last weekend. But the reason Lori Vallow was able to accomplish what she did and get away with what she did and go on the run for so long, publicly, like openly on the run, is because there were too many of her friends who were covering for her. And they didn't know where the children were. Nobody had seen those children for 6 months. And those friends still cover for her. They just believed, oh, well, she shares our ideology. So she wouldn't do that. She's a good Mormon mother. She would never do that. And so they ran cover for her for months, and that allowed her, number one, to for a long time get away with killing her own children, but two, it almost allowed her to get away with it forever. She killed her kids, and nobody even investigated for like 6 months. She was free for 6 months. No court cases, no arrests, nothing. All because a bunch of Mormons who shared her ideology were running cover for her. And that's what you guys are doing. You're running cover for a genocide. Why? Just because you don't want to disagree with Trump? Again, you're not going to be proud of proud of these opinions years down the road. Here's Tammy Bruce, who is the State Department spokesperson, going on Fox News, where lies happen, and just lying repeatedly and refusing to hold Israel accountable for anything that they do.
But right now, let's bring in State Department spokeswoman Tammy Bruce. Tammy, we're so fortunate to have you here to react in real time, because obviously we're waiting to see if there's a trade deal struck.
Sure.
But the president got a number of questions there about the dire humanitarian situation in Gaza. What was your reaction there?
Yes, and he's, of course, been very open. We've all been horrified by what we've been seeing, which is why his administration has been committed to stopping the carnage, not just there, but in other locations of the world as well. As a peace.
What have we done? What have we done to stop the carnage? I'm dedicated to this. What are you doing about it? Fucking nothing. Just nothing. But when we go on TV, we tell you that we're dedicated about it.
Peacemaker. But he's also a realist. We've been doing this for months, and he is correct. There was a...
Doing what? What are they doing? They keep saying, like, oh, we've negotiated a ceasefire. Oh, there's going to be a pause. And every time we do that, Israel just keeps attacking. We have done nothing. There has been nothing accomplished by the State Department or this president. They have done nothing.
A negotiation. Hamas walked away essentially from it. We had a ceasefire early on. They walked away and destroyed that. There was a ceasefire on October 7th when they implemented that atrocity against Israel and all of those innocent people. 1,200 dead, over 250 taken hostage. So we know who we're...
Between 100 and 200,000 dead Palestinians. The audacity to go on as a State Department official. Not Israeli State Department. You're not running cover for your own government. The audacity to come on United States television and mourn over the 1,200 without mentioning the between 100 and 200,000 dead Palestinians, including something like 50,000 who were killed directly in strikes. Most of them not members of age group that have been confirmed. I think they said it's less than 10,000 from age group. So the majority of them not being members of a terrorist organization. And you go on our television and you tell the American people about the 1,200, but you leave out the 50,000 and the 200,000. So much for telling the whole story, huh? At least on CNN, we just watched that panel. At least on CNN, there's a balanced view. At least on CNN, everybody agreed that what Hamas did on October 7th was wrong. At the very least, that not on Fox News, we can't bring up anything that Israel did wrong. We're only going to talk about October 7th, and that's it.
Dealing with. They're monsters, effectively. And the situation in Gaza is a reflection of the Gazan people being the first victims of this terrorist group. And it continues on. They are the one entity that could stop this immediately by...
No, Israel is the other entity. The United States is the other entity. This is what's crazy. Like, they are not the one entity that could stop this. There are multiple entities that could stop this. I missed a couple comments earlier. Amy Lynn said, what about the noise from oil rigs? We don't talk about that. Chrissy said, conspiracies prevent us from making good changes. And Amy also said, I just looked it up. There are 0 countries that have a ban on windmills. Surprise, surprise.
Laying down their arms and releasing the hostages. They refuse to do so. And as the president noted, this now has to be a decision of the Israeli prime minister. But we have been contributing not just with negotiations and getting the parties to the table, but as the president noted, millions of dollars, tens of millions of dollars for food and aid, and making sure, of course, that it wouldn't get to Hamas in the meantime.
Tammy, yesterday, the British Prime Minister, Keir Starmer, tweeted pretty strong words towards Israel, saying that Israel has to let aid in, which is essentially standing behind the UN's position.
Thanks, Lolo. He said this morning, death toll 71,000 now. Great.
Accusing Israel of denying aid into Gaza. What was your reaction to that?
Well, it's a shame. Obviously, in a lot of these stories, the word Hamas never comes up. But at the same time, the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation, which the United States State Department has supported, has distributed over 90 million meals in the last few months with 4 distribution sites. It is dangerous. It is a war zone. It is managed by a terrorist group, making it even more dangerous. There are, I believe, we hear the reports of hundreds of...
What's dangerous? Where's the... Somebody explain... show me the aid. Like the people providing aid that have been attacked by Hamas. From the only stories I know of, and I could be wrong. Again, there's a million stories, so I'm sure I missed stories. But I haven't seen any evidence that this aid is being blocked by Hamas. I 100% have seen stories. For example, that you had the ambulances coming in, people coming in to give medical aid. And Israel opened fire on these ambulances, killed everybody, and then buried all the people in a shallow grave, lied about the ambulances having their lights on, lied about why they killed these people, sent that message out, and then it turns out that story was a lie. Not a peep from this administration about that. Not a peep about the American citizens that have died. Not a peep about any of this stuff. We just keep going, oh, Netanyahu has every right to defend himself while he murders innocent people.
UN trucks. And in a New York Times story, they noted that they aren't bringing the trucks in, the UN, because it's dangerous. Well, if it is Israel's fault, if it's about trucks getting through, I'm not quite sure. Are they acknowledging that Hamas is controlling that zone and killing people? They are the only ones who benefit from the horrible scenes we've been seeing, from the starvation of people. They exist to destroy people's lives.
This is just so fucking crazy. Like, we're not idiots. I don't know how stupid they think the American people are, but we're watching who's doing what right now. None of us are watching this video going, oh, that's Hamas. Yeah, that's definitely Hamas. I don't know why Republicans, you allow yourselves to be gaslit like this, but like who's buying this shit? Only people who aren't following it. That's it. Only just lazy, intellectually incurious people. If you do 10 minutes of research, you're going to realize that they're lying to you.
So it's an amazing dynamic where we have given money, as the president noted. We
60 million.
Well, 60 million. Again, the 90 million meals that are distributed by GHF. Our desire to have other groups join us, and they refuse. And it is a perplexing dynamic. It is dangerous. That is one of the issues. And we have to make sure the food does not get looted and moved by Hamas. It is weaponized food aid. It sells it. It controls the population with food aid. But in the meantime, this can be resolved. Hamas refuses. They continue to torture the people of Gaza. The hostages that remain.
They tortured the people of Gaza? They are torturing the people of Gaza? This is crazy. It's like... it's not them. It's Israel. This type of obfuscation and victim blaming, like even for America, is sick. Like even for us, this is sick. We've done some sick things. We've lied a lot to the American people about our actions in the Middle East. But even for America, this is a new low. It's not even us. Like I don't even know why we're not even covering up our own shit. We're just covering for Israel.
Living hostages. So our commitment, obviously, is wanting all of this to end. We have a great special envoy, Witkoff, who's working on this. But as the president noted, Israel has...
Yeah, maybe Witkoff's not any good at it. Maybe Witkoff's dog shit at this. I do see a lot of people. I've seen a couple people. I'm sorry if I didn't get your names. Saying, like, all you're doing is creating a generation of people that will hate Israel. 100%. These other countries who have stood in solidarity with Palestine and the remaining Palestinians that live, they will never forgive Israel. This is not peace. Even if this ends, like if it ends the way that apparently Trump and Netanyahu want it to end, which is a complete obliteration of Gaza, which is then redeveloped by the Israelis, even if it ends there, this is not going to bring peace. People will never forget this. They will never forget the way that they were treated. You know, and it's different. Like in Germany after World War II, like we had the Nuremberg trials, and the Germans basically outed their own people. And the Germans to this day, like they still talk openly about the atrocities committed by their own country. They have chosen to learn from it and try and consistently remind people of the dangers of fascism. I don't think Israel's going to do that. I don't think Israel's going to stand up and be like, you know what? Our bad. I think they're going to keep doing what they've been doing, and we will not have a peaceful solution to this. I don't think this ends in peace at all. I think what Donald Trump is doing by standing idly by and watching this continue is setting the stage for decades more of fighting in the Middle East. Here's Chris Van Hollen on Face the Nation. I think doing a pretty good job of laying out the argument that this big lie, this claim that when the UN is delivering food to Palestinians, that it's being diverted systematically towards Hamas is an absolute lie. But here's Chris Van Hollen.
Is clear and did get clawbacks of is foreign assistance. However, there's an exception. In June, the administration announced it would give $30 million to this Israeli-backed organization called the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation.
Thanks for the gifted subs there, Alter Ego. Appreciate it.
Foundation, the GHF, I know you're familiar with it, delivers aid through armed military contractors who stand behind the Israeli military in 4 designated zones that Gazans then have to get themselves to in order to receive the aid. The State Department says they're sending this money. Have they?
To my knowledge, they have, although we've asked for the details. We haven't gotten them. In fact, just today, I'm sending a letter to Secretary Rubio, signed with 20 of my colleagues, calling for more information, but also calling for defunding this. American taxpayers should not be spending 1 penny to fund this private organization backed by mercenaries and by the IDF that has become a death trap. Over 1,000 people have died from being shot and killed as starving people crowd to try to get food at just these 4 sites.
Just to be clear here, the State Department says they're going to send $30 million. Reuters had reported that there were documents they obtained showing $7 million had already been sent to these, what you call armed mercenaries. But the Trump administration says this is the best way. This is the only way to keep food out of the hands of Hamas, which financially benefits off reselling it to desperate, starving people. Is there another way to feed desperate, starving people?
Yes, and this is a big lie. The claim that when the UN organizations were delivering food to Palestinians, civilians, that it was being systematically diverted to Hamas. I want to say loudly and clearly, this is a big lie.
The systematic part of that.
If it's not a lie, they just don't have evidence for it. Like I'm not quite there. Like I'm trying to be as accurate as possible. If this is not a massive lie, which it appears to be, then at the very least, they just don't have evidence to back up this claim. There's no evidence. There's no video. This is just something they keep saying. But I've never seen any evidence that this is true. And this is Van Hollen, who is getting that intel. He gets intel from our people and from the UN, and they are saying unequivocally that there's no evidence this is true.
The systematic, but that is their claim. They claim that essentially large amounts of aid are being diverted to Hamas. What we know now from testimony of American officials, Cindy McCain, and just this week, high-level Israeli military officials, is that there's no evidence to support that. USAID, just released a report saying there's no evidence to support that. So what the Netanyahu government did was scrap a delivery system that was working at delivering food and assistance in favor of this other effort. That was a pretext, this claim that Hamas was systematically diverting food. The real goal of this other effort is to use food as a weapon of war and population control.
That's a
population control, more like population decline. Pink said, I've recently been confronted with a giant cognitive dissonance in my morals, and it's been very hard to confront, but we all need to be looking at those parts of ourselves if we want things to improve. Thanks, Jay and Jen. I love that, Pink. It's important. Like, you challenge your own beliefs. Figure out where your beliefs are and consistently challenge them. Information changes. If you still hold the same beliefs you did from 10 years ago, and you haven't challenged them, I think maybe take a look at that. Melissa said, dollar train time. Thank you, Melissa. Rosemary says, I love how you speak truth every day. Thank you, Rosemary. We've got about 40 minutes left. I'm going to try and get through Trump through Europe today. And looks like the gift goal, we're about 150 short. Thank you guys so much. You've almost wiped that out. If we knock out the dollar, if we do a dollar train, we'll get through that gift goal in no time. But anything you guys can do to help knock out that gift goal would be greatly appreciated. We have Venmo, Cash App, and PayPal. And as well as super chats. And make sure if you're on TikTok, are we still live TikTok? We are still live, keeping it alive here. We're at 134,000 likes. Let's see if we can get that up over 200,000. Popular Monster back in the lead. DNC Warrior second. Roster Ranch, Nana Good, and Shan's rounding out the top 5. If you got some coins sitting around, not doing anything, you want to send those in, that helps pay our TikTok HR rep to keep the lights on over here on TikTok. All right, now let's get to Trump. Trump is asked about the starvation in Gaza, and it is while I'm critical of Trump because I don't like his answers here, I will say this, that it is progress that they're acknowledging it. It's progress that this administration is finally, at the very least, acknowledging this. And shout out to those who have been forcing this in front of people's faces for years. I know that there are at least a decent amount of members in our audience who have been on this long before I was, who made this a recognizable issue to me, and I applaud our audience for doing that, for never letting us stop talking about Gaza. So I'll give them as much applause as they deserve for finally, at the very least, addressing what's happening. But they don't seem to have a solution. The solution seems to be the Republican solution to everything. Blame somebody else, no accountability, no transparency. We don't do anything wrong. Everything we do is perfect. Everything that's wrong is somebody else. Because before anything, Republicans are bitches. But here's Trump acknowledging the starvation and then immediately reverting back to being a bitch.
It's going to be working with the United States. We'll be helping with the food. You know, we have a lot of access to food. We got a lot of food ourselves. and we're going to bring it over there. We're also going to make sure that they don't.
Ironically, him saying this is a week after we know that some I think that we would call them, like, I don't know how you call them. It's like this processed food that we give in the form of bars that we can give to people who are starving, who are emaciated. It gives them a certain amount of vitamins and calories and carbs and protein to help them. And we have to, because they're so emaciated, their bodies can't process food in the same way that we do. So we have to pre-process the food. And we had billions of it sitting in a warehouse. I want to say in Qatar. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think it was in Qatar. And it sat there for months. And they kept warning through USAID that this was going to go bad. But because this administration has decided USAID is bad, that all just went to waste. We had millions, I think, of pounds of food that we could have given to these Palestinians, which has now gone to waste, and now it'll go to animals, or we'll just incinerate it.
Don't have barriers stopping people. You know, you've seen the areas where they actually have food, and the people are screaming for the food in there. They're 35, 40 yards away, and they won't let them because they have lines that are set up. And whether they're
500 tons, thank you,
set up by Hamas or whoever, but they're very strict lines, so we have to get rid of those lines. But we're going to be getting some good, strong food. We can save a lot of people. I mean, some of those kids that's real starvation stuff. I see it. And you can't fake that. So we're going to be even more involved. We did some airlifts before, some airdrops, and the people are running for it. And the Prime Minister is going to help us. They're very effective with that. You've done that before, and for many, they've done that for 100 years very well. So,
you know what's even sick about this is these airdrops are also dangerous. Last week, you can look this up again. What's tough is I can't show a lot of this stuff because of terms of agreement. But I think it was last week or the week before, Israel did an airdrop on aid, and they dropped it on like an encampment, and they killed people with the airdrop. They could have dropped it in a place where there weren't people, but they decided that's how sick Israel is. They dropped it on people. They killed children by dropping aid. And again, like, you can go look at the map of Gaza even before they wiped Gaza off the map. Even before that, there were plenty of places you could do aid drops. It's not like this is a heavily populated, dense city where no matter where you drop the aid, people are going to hurt. That was targeted. And it was, I believe it was at night. The Israeli government is one of the most depraved organizations I've ever seen. And like, there's a lot of people who are like on the schmatzy side, who like to point out that like the Holocaust wasn't the biggest number of people who were genocided, and that's true. But what was particularly alarming about the Holocaust is that it happened in an era where we had video, we had pictures, we had radio, we had newspapers, and they were doing it openly. They were doing these heinous things openly while people were reporting on them. So it's not like it was done in secret. It's not like the Holocaust happened and years later we found out what was going on. We knew in not like today, but we knew in semi-real time in the 1930s and 40s what the Germans were doing. We saw pictures and videos of the people in the concentration camps. We could see that, and that's what made it for a lot of people so visceral. And that's why for a lot of people, like, the cruelty is almost worse, because not only do you have the cruelty of Adolf Hitler and his can't say any of these words, goddamn, the brown shirts and the people who were working at the concentration camps who were treating people poorly. You also had the regular people staying at home working, or staying at home watching their kids, watching this on TV and going, you know what, though? They kind of had it coming. What else are we going to do? What else are we going to do? These people, these Jewish people invaded our country. They took over our financial markets. That was the part, I think, for a lot of people that made it so visceral, is that you're seeing it. So we're all watching this in real time. This isn't something we're finding out about later. In real time, you're watching Israel every day. You cannot pick a day when Israel doesn't do something entirely inhumane just to be inhumane. And so this shit where Trump's like, oh, Israel's been great about doing these aid drops. Even when Israel provides aid, they're doing it in the most cruel way imaginable. Bad Religion said, apparently Trumpers think we're getting a tariff rebate on August 1st. Still waiting on that $8,000 Doge check. I saw that. I think it was started on Twitter. I think it was like an obvious debunked lie, but keep waiting for it.
It's not very hard to do, actually.
Yeah. It's not hard to do. It's not hard to do that aid, but Israel decides to do it in the most horrific way imaginable. So thank you, Israel. Charles said for that train. Thanks, Charles, my friend. Always good to see you. Get those. I think I got those. Chris said, frantically panting, I can't stop peeing. Older millennial. Come on. Carol said, thank you for the research. Thanks, guys. I've tried not to laugh at that. I've been trying to take the high road there, and some of you guys don't want me to take the high road. Some of you are unwilling to let me take the high road over there. I'm going to keep trying. I haven't showed the video, and I won't, so I guess we're good there. This is from Britt. Britt sent me this earlier. Trump was asked if Israel should be. I guess that kind of covers that clip, but we'll go here. This is the full clip of Trump meeting. He's asked if Israel should be doing more to allow food into Gaza.
Allow food into Gaza?
Say it.
Should Israel be doing more to allow food into Gaza?
What did she say?
Should Israel be doing more to allow food into Gaza?
Thanks, Jeremy. Jeremy says, choo choo.
Well, we gave $60 million 2 weeks ago, and nobody even acknowledged it for food. And it's terrible. You really at least want to have somebody say thank you. No other country gave anything. We gave $60 million 2 weeks ago for food, for Gaza. And
by the way, if you look this up, when he says nobody said thank you, nobody acknowledged it, it was covered by everybody. Like every news organization covered this. So Trump mentioned it last week too. I don't know why these guys are so obsessed with people telling them thank you.
Nobody acknowledged it. Nobody talks about it. And it makes you feel a little bad when you do that and, you have other countries not giving anything. None of the European countries, by the way, gave. Nobody gave but us. And nobody said, gee, thank you very much. And
no, you mean nobody gave at the exact same time as you. All of these countries have been giving donations to Israel. All of them have been sending humanitarian aid. They're just, believe it or not, they don't feel in lockstep with our government. They just didn't do it at the same time. They've been sending aid this whole time.
It'd be nice to have at least a thank you. And I took a lot of heat. When I do that, a lot of people aren't happy about that because they say, well, why are we doing it and nobody else? But I think we had a humanitarian reason for doing it. What's going to happen? I don't know. I can tell you that Hamas, as I said, would happen at the end. We've gotten back a lot of hostages, a tremendous number of hostages, most of them. Now we have dead hostages, and the mothers want them back, and we have 20.
Yeah. I heard him. I couldn't find it this morning. I don't know where I listened to it. It was in my headphones when I was golfing the other day, but I heard him talking about the hostages, and he rambled way too long about the parents of hostages. I don't want to play it, but you look it up. It's bizarre. Betsy said, check out Little Leaguers denied visas for World Series. And Amber said they didn't start by starving and gassing them. Yeah, that's true. Little League World Series. You want me to look up here? What we got here? The Venezuelan baseball team is denied visas into the U.S. Oh. Are they going to let Venezuelans come in for the World Cup? Bro, the parallels, I can't help but think of the fact that during all this shit in Germany, during the lead up to the Holocaust in Germany, what year was it? Was it 38? Is that when the Olympics were in Germany? 36? It reminds me of that, where we were there were no Olympics in 38. 36 Summer Olympics were in Berlin. I believe that's the Jesse Owens, when they didn't want Jesse Owens to be up on the medal stage when he won. There were multiple political boycotts. I think, didn't they keep the Russians out? God, the parallels here are getting uncanny that we happen to have the World Cup and the Olympics. I don't know. Venezuela's got to come for the World. Did they qualify? Venezuela World Cup. What? It's 2026, right? I don't know if Venezuela has qualified yet. It's currently competing. How many do they get? I don't know if Venezuela's. They haven't qualified yet, but I don't know if they're going to qualify or not. Interesting. Kristen says, yes, children are starving, but has anyone thought about Trump's feelings? Poor thing. We didn't, or maybe we didn't think about Trump's feelings enough. He didn't get enough thank yous. Say former Green Beret. I found this morning, talking about his experience. He was one of the armed American guards, security guards in Gaza, who, after he saw American and Israeli troops killing Palestinian civilians, he's like, I got to leave. I can't be part of this. This is tough to listen to. Trigger warning in advance.
Forces shooting at the crowds of Palestinians. I witnessed the Israeli Defense Forces firing a main gun tank round from the Markava tank into a crowd of people, destroying a car of civilians that were simply driving away from the site. I witnessed mortar rounds being fired at the crowds of people to keep them controlled.
As a professional soldier with a very long career, what was your professional opinion of what was happening?
My professional opinion of how the sites were established was what I would describe as amateur, inexperienced, untrained, no idea of how to conduct operations of this magnitude. That would be my most benign assessment. In my most frank assessment, I would say that they're criminal. In my entire career, have I never witnessed the level of brutality and use of indiscriminate and unnecessary force against a civilian population, an unarmed, starving population. I've never witnessed that in all of the places I've been deployed to war until I was in Gaza at the hands of the IDF and U.S. contractors.
Based on the knowledge you have, do you think that you were a witness then to war crimes? I think you're saying that very emphatically.
Without question, I witnessed war crimes. I witnessed war crimes being by the Israeli.
It's not AI. It's translated, so they're using English. He's, I believe,
the Defense Forces, without a doubt.
Oh no, that's not on. Are you talking about the questionnaire? I think the questionnaire. Never mind. This one's in English. That matches. This guy's from America. Where was it?
Using artillery rounds, mortar rounds, firing tank rounds into unarmed civilians is a war crime.
This video is of the Foundation's armed American security guards opening fire.
I think you hit one.
It was filmed by a US soldier who signed up for the operation in Gaza after he retired and left, he says, when he saw American colleagues and the IDF killing civilians. The soldier is Lieutenant Colonel Anthony Aguilar, a Special Forces veteran of the US Army's Green Berets.
What do you say about that? The judge just laughing about it. I got one. Did you hear that from the audience? Got one. Amy Lynn said many teams are looking at moving matches to Mexico and Canada for FIFA. Remains to be seen. Okay, I guess that would make sense. All right, let's get to the Epstein stuff then. Basically, same interview Trump's doing here. Let me make sure I got through all this. First, I want to do, let me get tariffs, then we'll do Epstein. So this is Trump sitting with Keir Starmer. He's asked about the trade deals. Now, Trump did announce a trade deal with the European Union. I don't know. I was looking at it. It seems like one weird part about it is the White House announces this trade deal. And in the writing, they're saying that Europe has agreed to pay these tariffs, as if Europe pays tariffs. Let me see if I saved it, because I don't think I put it on the outline, but I may have saved it. Let me see real quick if I saved it. I may not have. Let me see if I can find it real quick. Jen, could you find it what the White House put out today while I'm looking at this? I don't know why I didn't save that. But anyways, here's Trump talking about the trade deals.
Mr. President, your Treasury Secretary. What else put out?
Right now.
What's that? What'd you say, Jen?
What the White House put out about what?
The European or the UK trade deal today. Should be able to find it maybe on whitehouse.gov.
Have you received an update? Do you expect a deal when these talks are over, especially with the August 1st?
Yeah. No, they're meeting right now. And, we have a good relationship with China. But China's tough. And like you're tough, we're all tough, yes. But we're going to see what happens.
Guys, we're all very tough. These trade deals require toughness. Yeah, you don't need to be tough to negotiate trade deals. You have to be smart. It's probably better to be smart than tough.
And we just concluded our deal with Japan. It was very good for everybody. We're making, great deals. We're making deals that are good for us, but we want them to be good for everybody. It's important. It's sometimes I'll do something that I shouldn't do because it's not very important for our country, but it's very meaningful for the country on the other side. And I'll let them have that point because it's very important for them. So I don't know, but
he's not even negotiating these deals. That's the funny part. Like, he's talking about this hypothetical world where he's sitting at the table negotiating deals. He's not. He's not the one negotiating these deals. He'll tell you over and over that he's not the one doing the negotiations. This is just him now, like, bloviating about something that definitely doesn't happen.
We made a lot of deals in the last couple of months.
Zero. You made 0 deals in the last couple of months. 0. What is he talking about here? Republicans, are you aware that he hasn't closed like any trade deals? Even this one today, like, we don't even know if they've agreed to this deal. Where are all these trade deals that he's closed in the last couple months?
And then ultimately, as you might as well know, we're going to just, because we have, you have 200 countries, more. But people don't know that. You got a lot of countries.
No, everybody knows that. Donald Trump just found out about that for the first time.
And I wouldn't want to sit down with 200 people and have to deal the way he was calling me all the time. We want this, we got to have that. These are tough negotiators. These are, look, they're smart people, they're tough negotiators. They know what they want. And, but we're going to be setting a tariff for essentially the rest of the world. And that's what they're going to pay if they want to do business in the United States.
All these negotiations, all these countries calling. He can't come up with a trade deal for any of them. And now he's saying that, fuck it, we're just going to do 15% across the board because nobody will talk to us. What a negotiator. What a master negotiator this guy is. Thank God we have him. Every other country told Trump to go fuck himself. That's what happened. They're like, you're a dipshit. Go fuck yourself. And he's like, fine, we'll do blanket tariffs, which again are just a tax on you. You dipshits are getting a 15% tax put on you because this dipshit can't fucking negotiate and his people can't come up with trade deals that make any sense. So because he's so fucking incompetent at his job, he's going to tax you 15%. Congratulations, guys. What a big win for you. You increased your taxes. Hooray! That's what he's doing here. That's what we're celebrating, MAGA, today. Nobody wants to talk to him, and so as retribution for them not doing what he asks, he's going to tax us 15%. So take that, European Union. Take that, Japan. Yeah. He's just taxing us. Cool. Cool guy you got here.
Because you can't sit down and make 200 deals. But we've made the big ones. We just finished Indonesia. They opened up their country.
Yeah. Jay, Trump says, so it must be true. That's true. I forgot about that. I forgot that Trump said it, so it has to be true. Did you find this, Jen? This it? Shut the fuck up. Does this really say deal maker in chief? All right, here's the White House. Deal maker in chief, President Trump secures landmark peace and trade deals. What peace deal did we have? So landmark trade deal with the European Union. Let's see, is it this one? That's the announcement. Oh, they're citing these are links to Twitter. What the fuck? Wait a minute. None of these are the trade deals. Let's click on every link. These are all just links to like Twitter. This is somebody just pointing it out. Do we have the trade deal? Big win and victory. Announced immediate. Okay, that's the ceasefire. So they didn't show us? They just announced that they secured a deal without, it's not even there? Where do we find this? All right, that's just a biography. They didn't even show us? You gotta be shitting me. Oh, here's the fact sheet. This is what I was looking for. All right. I think here's the details. The EU will invest $600 billion in the United States over the course of the President Trump's term. This new investment is in addition to the over $100 billion companies already invest in the United States every year. EU will double down on America as the energy superpower by buying our energy through 2028. $750 billion of energy by 2028. This will strengthen the United States' energy dominance, which we're not doing. Reduce European reliance on adversarial sources, narrow our trade deficit, which doesn't matter. The European Union will work with the United States to eliminate tariffs in various sectors and will provide meaningful quotas for other products. Oh, so they're going to create quotas. Digital trade. I was looking for the announcement where he said, I think this is it. This colossal deal will enable U.S. farmers, ranchers, fishermen, and manufacturers to increase U.S. exports, expand business opportunities, and help reduce the goods trade deficit with the EU. The EU will remove significant tariffs, including the elimination of all EU tariffs on U.S. industrial goods exported to the EU. So the EU is going to get American goods without an additional tax. So congratulations if you live in the EU and you don't want to pay extra taxes on stuff coming from the United States. That's great. You don't have to pay more taxes. As part of Trump's plan, however, the EU will pay the United States a tariff rate of 15%. Why does he just lie? This is whitehouse.gov. This is impossible. This can't happen. Do you see what's highlighted here? The European Union will pay the United States a tariff rate of 15%. They can't do that. That's not part of this. We're paying that, including on autos and auto parts and pharmaceuticals and semiconductors. So we're not going to have pharmaceuticals go down in price. They're going to go up in price because there's going to be a 15% tax. The sectoral tariffs on steel and aluminum and copper will remain unchanged. The EU will continue to pay 50%, and the parties will discuss securing supply chains for these products. Awesome. So the EU negotiated a good trade agreement for their people because their people don't have to pay tariffs anymore. Meanwhile, here in America, we have to pay tariffs. We have to pay taxes. That's terrific. Incredible stuff by President Trump. How the fuck is the White House going to put out an article saying that the EU is going to pay tariffs? They're not. Fuck all of you who still believe this guy. Fuck all of you who everybody lies. Nobody in the history of our country has ever more blatantly lied than Donald Trump. He's telling you that the tariffs that you pay are being paid by Europe. That's not how any of this shit works. None of that works. What did you say? Do I know the EU is borrowing us goods? Yes, they through tariffs. Listen, I don't care. This is a trade deal. If you like the trade deal, if you don't like the trade deal, I'm not arguing whether or not this is a good trade deal or not for us. I think some of it makes sense. What I do have a problem with is him lying to you and to me, saying that the EU will pay these tariffs. That's not how it works. Why don't any of you care? I need one Republican to tell me Donald Trump, tell me Donald Trump's telling the truth about tariffs. Tell me that. Tell me when he says the EU will pay tariffs. Please tell me that you know he's fucking lying. If you don't know that, then we're more fucked than I thought. But why is his administration? He didn't write this. Somebody else wrote this. Somebody else was instructed to lie to you about the European Union paying a 15% tariff. Can you explain to me why they lie to you like that? Can you explain why every time they talk about tariffs, they lie? Any response to that, MAGA? Any response? Nothing? We all pay taxes. Yeah, no shit. And now taxes are... Jesus Christ. They can't do it. They just can't do it. They literally can't do it. Can you acknowledge Trump's lying? Oh, everybody pays taxes. Yeah, no shit. Who pays the taxes? When you're assessed a tax, who pays it? You do. So these tariffs, who's paying the tariffs? Come on, Trumpers. I need Trumpers in the chat to tell me that they think the European Union is going to pay these tariffs. Come on. Let's go. Come on. Come on. Tell me he's telling the truth. Come on. Where is it? Where is it, boy? Where is it, boy? Where is it? Look how this is the thing. Like when he lies to you, you're just like, I want to talk about anything else. Do you guys not know how tariffs work? Like, or do you just not care that you're being lied to? I can't figure any of this out. Because either you're a fucking idiot or you're slightly less of a fucking idiot. And if you're a fucking idiot, you don't know how tariffs work. You think European Union is paying those. If you're just slightly less of a fucking idiot, then you know how tariffs work, but you don't mind that your president lies about it every time. And it just lies to the American people about who pays tariffs. Now, why does he do that? It's because a lot of you are dipshits. And he already started with this lie, and he doesn't want to change that. And it allows dipshits to be like, oh, my taxes didn't go up. That's the European Union's taxes that are going up. They're the ones that are paying the taxes. I'll keep voting for them. And your prices will go up, and you'll be like, oh, that must have been the Dems. The Dems must have raised the prices. So there's like two levels of dipshit fucking idiots. And you're either the one who doesn't know how tariffs work, or you're the ones that do, but you just don't mind being lied to every day. You're just cool knowing that your policies are so fucking stupid that the only way to get people to accept them is to lie. Here's a question by, again, shout out European reporters. I don't know if this is American or European reporter, but I wish Trump would go to Europe more often because we get a lot of good questions.
That you have not been briefed on the Epstein files, or your name has not appeared in the Epstein files. But doesn't the AG have to tell you?
If you didn't hear that, they said, you say that you have not been briefed on the Epstein files, which is a lie. We know that he has. We know that he knows his name is in the files. And they're asking, like, well, you're saying that you haven't been briefed. Doesn't the AG need to brief you on this?
Well, I haven't been overly interested in it. You know, it's a hoax that's been built up way beyond proportion. I can say this, those files were run by the worst scum on earth. They were run by Comey. They were run by Garland. They were run by Biden.
No, they weren't. The Epstein files were not run by anybody, but Epstein was first convicted in 2008 under the Bush administration. He was given a sweetheart deal by Acosta, whose next job, by the way, after he gave this weird sweetheart deal to Epstein so that Epstein could avoid federal prosecution, then his next job was he was hired by Trump. As he was, what was his role in the Trump administration? I don't remember. Alex Acosta. What was his Secretary of Labor? Yeah. So then after cutting Epstein this deal, he becomes Trump's Secretary of Labor. The Attorney General of Florida at the time, who would have overseen that, then becomes Trump's Attorney General. But yeah. It was definitely Biden. Almost literally none of this has to do with Biden. It happened during the Bush administration. Trump has been president since then and could have declassified it. He took the guy that gave Epstein a sweetheart deal and put him in his administration. He took the attorney general who oversaw it and put him in his administration. He took the lawyer. He took Epstein's lawyer, Dershowitz, and made him his personal lawyer. It seems like Trump has embraced everybody responsible for hiding Epstein, and yet then has the audacity to be like, "Oh, it was actually Biden. It was actually Joe Biden that caused all these problems."
And all of the people that actually ran the government, including the auto pen, those files were run for 4 years by those people. If they had anything, I assume they would have released it. The whole thing is a hoax. They ran the files.
Then release it. Here's the question: like, if it's a hoax, why not release it then? If it's obvious, if it's all such an easy debunkable lie, release it. Why not? By the way, for you Republicans in the chat, I don't debate the chat, but you can come up here. I have a Discord. You can join the Discord. And you can come up here during live shows and you can debate. But I'm not going to debate you in the chat. Sorry, it's too time consuming.
I was running against somebody that ran the files. If
That's a good point. Yeah, Epstein unalived himself over a hoax. Yeah.
they had something, they would have released. Now, they can easily put something in the files that's a phony. Like, as an example, Christopher Steele, a person you know well, happens to be from your country. But Christopher Steele, as an example, wrote a book, a dossier. We call it the fake news dossier. And the whole thing was a fake.
It's not true. It's not a fake. It's unverifiable, which it always was intended to be unverifiable. That's what opposition research is. This is, again, like just another example of Trump knowing that you guys are fucking stupid. He knows that you're too fucking stupid to look into anything. If you know anything about the Steele dossier, you know it's opposition research. You know that it wasn't used, relied on heavily in any investigation. It was a dossier that was originally funded by the Republicans, and once Trump became the nominee, Hillary Clinton picked up that the mostly compiled Steele dossier, and they gave it a new name. It really most of the research was done by Fusion GPS. Most of the research in the Steele dossier was not done by Christopher Steele. Most of it was done before he ever got his hands on it, and it was Republican opposition research. And it's not meant to be factual. It's meant to say, here's everything people will say about you. And it has absolutely fucking nothing to do with the Epstein files. The only reason that Trump is talking about it is because he's fucking insane. He literally can't finish sentences. He's talking about the Epstein files. Now we're on to Christopher Steele. Sorry, wrong thing, dog. This is the Christopher Steele is about the Russia investigation. The Epstein files have nothing to do with Christopher Steele. Why the fuck are we talking about Christopher Steele right now? Because this guy's a dipshit. Because he literally loses his track track. Why am I blanking on that? How am I fucking that up? Whatever that term is, I'm fucking up. I'm having a Trump moment here. He's losing his train of thought. That's what I was trying to say. I don't know where I came up with track. Train of thought. He's now talking about Christopher Steele. He was asked simply about the Epstein files. Here we are on Christopher Steele because this is an insane person. This is an 80-year-old insane person who can't answer questions honestly or accurately.
The whole thing was a fake. They can put things in the file that are fake.
And this is him now knowing that he's caught. There's some things in there that he doesn't want to have to account for. And so he's saying, oh, anything that comes out is going to be fake. Thanks, Jesse, for the $5. Elena, thanks for the $5 as well. There are no trade deals, so no, says Amy. I'm going to go a little bit over today. I don't have. Susan said for the goal. Tina said happy Monday. Thank you, Tina. Let me finish this stuff up. Amy said... is this? How are we supposed to believe that one of the most well-funded military forces in the world is incapable of rooting out Hamas? How powerful do they expect us to believe this terrorist group is? Thanks for talking about this and all you do. That's a great fucking question, Amy. That is a great question. Here is now a reporter asking Trump if he's considered pardoning Ghislaine Maxwell. Now, if you look back at all the times Trump has been asked about doing things that are shaky, whenever he says, I haven't thought about it, but I have the right to do it, he always does it. And here's another example of what we all are just waiting for to happen is that Trump is going to pardon Ghislaine Maxwell. She's going to release some names of people that are prominent Democrats or people who don't like Trump, and then he's going to pardon her. And then you guys are all going to celebrate this as if it's some sort of an act of transparency, which it certainly isn't.
Different. Maybe it's not. I don't know. But maybe it's slightly different.
Mr. President, President completely ruled out a pardon for Ghislaine Maxwell when you landed. Is that something you would ever consider, and why?
Pardon for who?
For Ghislaine Maxwell.
Well, I'm allowed to give her a pardon, but nobody's approached me with it. Nobody's asked me about it.
You've been asked about that like 85 fucking times last week. He's been asked this question so many times. I don't know. He's stupid or he lies. Which one is it? You can go Google it. You can watch him answer this exact question a million times last week. You can watch people in his administration answer this question last week. We were here last week. We know that he's been asked this and he's thought about it and he's answered it. Does he not remember?
It's
Thanks,
in
Lee.
the news about that aspect of it, but right now it would be inappropriate to talk about it. So,
Mr. President, you're
different.
It's a weird thing to say. Like, you're talking about it, bud. If it's inappropriate to talk about it, I don't know why you're talking about it. He also said he never had the privilege of going to Epstein Island. I'm going to skip that because I don't think it's relevant. I do think maybe it was a figure of speech. I've seen no evidence that Trump has been on Epstein Island. I've seen some prominent podcasters talk about stories that he was on the island. I can't find any evidence of that, so I'm unwilling to say that Trump has been to Epstein Island. I don't see any evidence of that. But I want to show you this. This was Jake Tapper back from his book that sold no copies, where he tried to make a mountain out of molehill with Biden. Here he is with Lee Harvey, McMullins, Jaylee what is it? Jaylee. God. What is it? Oh, Hell Osment. What's his name? Jody Hell Osment. What was that guy's name? Anyways, here you go. Haley Joel Osment. There we go.
Way, and that's why Attorney General Bondi
if the
was
case
saying
is
for
sealed,
months. Well, then tell me why
well,
for
no.
months she was saying that she's going to release the information tomorrow.
We made the assumption that the judges would release the order and allow the evidence that they had that it could be heard.
Now, remember, where we left off on Friday is Mark McMullins here was arguing with Arizona Senator, whatever his damn name is. My brain's at this point is rotten. Ruben Gallego. And Gallego was saying, hey, what if we release both the grand jury files and the Epstein files? And McMullen's like, no, just the grand jury. And he's like, what if we do both? And he said, no, we're saying the same thing. Just sign my amendment. Just do mine with the grand jury stuff. We're saying the same thing, which we're not. The grand jury, we already know the grand jury is not going to tell us anything. We know how many times Epstein pled the fifth. What we want to see is the evidence against Epstein, not the evidence that he admitted to. We'll see both. But what we really need to see is the evidence that he didn't admit to, which is in the FBI file. That's what we want to see, and that's what Republicans are trying to block you from seeing. Again, transparency, the most transparent administration in history. Why are they lying to you? Why are they hiding things from you? Trump's telling you that we have to hide it from you because everything in there is a lie. I saw, I don't remember. I'm trying to remember. I think it was Andrew Schultz say, like, the problem is that, like, now every time you try and tell us not to care about this, it makes us think you're hiding something. Nobody really cared about this for a long time until Trump started obviously lying. And that's now when we see Republicans scrambling and lying and hiding things, that's where the interest comes. That's why it's not going away. Because most of us were like, and then they lied about stuff we know they're lying about. We're like, okay, now it seems like you are hiding something, though. Because before we didn't really care. It didn't seem like you were hiding anything. But now it definitely seems like all of you are hiding something. What are you hiding?
But it's all been sealed. And so if it's been a sealed case, we can't release it until the judges allow us to release it. And you would think common sense would play. That's why they asked for transparency. We want transparency. We want the judges to have transparency in this too. But remember, there was a plea deal that was struck in 2009, way before
2007, I think, is when it was struck, maybe finished in 2008. He's got his date wrong here. And the reason that he has his date wrong is because Republicans are given talking points in the morning, and they put lies in the talking points that they don't know about to try and make sure that people don't push it. They don't expect the Jake Tappers of the world to be prepared for this. So they lie and they say it's 2009. Why? Because that's when Obama took over, is in 2009. That's why they lie and say 2009 when it was really 2007 and 2008.
before I was in office, way before Trump was even considering to be in office, way before Pam Bondi was in office, way before Kash Patel was director, 2009, there was a sweetheart plea deal that was made underneath the Obama administration with Epstein.
Right. That's not
and that sweetheart has not been exposed.
No, it was 2000.
Oh, it's not? Well, when was the case heard?
It was 2008. It was the U.S. attorney at the time was a guy named Alex Acosta. He was a Bush appointee. He went on to become President Trump's Secretary of Labor. It all took place in 2008.
Who was in office at the time?
2008, George W. Bush.
Who was in office at the time?
George W. Bush.
No, 2009 is when the case came out, and it was and Obama was in office at the time.
It's not true. But let me ask you a question.
Look at that look. Well, on my paper, it said it's true. You can look this up yourself. The case was in 2008. These are all Republicans involved. It's mostly Republicans involved in covering this up. Somebody in the chat just said something I thought was really important, that if these documents are sealed, if like the grand jury testimony was sealed, then Biden couldn't have released that either. So the stuff that they're asking to be unsealed, the grand jury testimony, that stuff Biden can't unseal. That has to be done through the courts. And the courts, by the way, in both of these instances have responded to Trump's lawyers and said, listen, you dumb bitches know what we can and can't do. And you know there's a narrow scope in which we can release the grand jury testimony. And you never even tried to give us a reason. In your own filings, you said that you understand that we can't release it unless it fits these certain criteria. And you never mentioned any of those criteria. So they didn't even say no. They said, come back. You have 7 days. Come back in 7 days with something we can do something with. You haven't even given us anything we can rule on. In order for you to have these grand jury testimonies unsealed, you have to give us a legitimate reason that falls within the law, and you haven't done that. So come back in 7 days. But they're not going to do it because all they wanted was the headline of Obama judge refuses to release the transcripts. That's all they wanted because they think you're stupid. And most of you are, and you can be better. Most of you are dumb enough to believe that, but that's why they did it. And that's why we probably won't see that either. But why not release everything, Republicans? Why not release everything? And if there's stuff in there that's untrue, it should be pretty easy to debunk, right? Should be real easy. What in there is going to be untrue about Donald Trump? You still have to prove it. Like, even if there's stuff in there that makes Donald Trump look bad, if it's hearsay and it doesn't prove a crime, oh well, there's no crime there. So what are we? So you guys all want to keep the Epstein files hidden so that Donald Trump doesn't look bad? That's what's more important to you folks now at this point? I don't think that is. Here was what I was talking about with Schultz. I didn't realize I had put this on here. Here's what Schultz had to say. Sorry, I blew this. I didn't remember putting this on.
Is like, hey, the base thinks vaccines are fucked up. RFK, get in there.
January
Research
6th,
the vaccine.
they want them out.
They want them out. We're putting them out. And this, he is rebuking the base. Like, almost like spitting in their face. Like, they're asking for it. He campaigned on it. He puts Bongino and Cash in there, which might be the stupidest thing in the history of the world. Like, why would you put the two guys that have nonstop pounded the pavement talking about how we're going to expose this Epstein thing, and the second they get in there, like, you better shut the fuck up.
Yeah, to shut him up.
Go on Rogan, lie. Like, it is a very peculiar thing. It worked in that I think it moved any of the smoke off of Trump. Because, at least for me, I was like, there's no way that he's involved if he's putting Bongino and Cash in who have campaigned on exposing it. Like, why would you hire those guys or appoint those guys, right? So I'm like, he can't be. But the fact that he will not touch this, and then this last week, him doing the bullshit distractions.
Bro.
dropping the MLK file. Like, who asked for the MLK
Yeah,
file?
yeah.
Who asked for MLK?
You know what's funny is I'm not a huge conspiracy theorist, and I was.
There you go. Somebody asked why I put Schultz on there, because Schultz is a very popular podcast, and when you have people like Andrew Schultz or Tim Dillon or Joe Rogan, and you're having an audience that thinks like them, and they're openly saying, and they supported Trump, and they're openly saying this, I think it's important. I think that goes to show what the general public is seeing. If you're here in this chat, you're probably not like the general public. You're somebody who consumes politics regularly. So that's not necessarily for you, but it does give you a glimpse into what the people who don't consume politics regularly are saying. That's why I show those lately. Normally, I don't really care what any of them have to say, but this is the viewpoint of, and frankly, all of my non-MAGA Republican friends, every one of them, all thinks this is fucking weird. And one of my friends texted me the other day, like, I've never been more convinced that Trump was guilty of something ever. Like, the way that he's hiding this just makes it look worse. Devin said, I'm still trying to figure out what even made Alex Acosta qualified to be labor secretary other than being Trump's buddy. Perhaps they had dirt together, mutually assured destruction. I don't know. Dragon Wizard said, you should put the Discord info on the background image too. Most of them are too dumb to figure it out, and I bet the mods are tired of repeating it. Yeah, that is probably tiresome. Look, the reason we don't have a phone number, and the reason I don't put the Discord information up there, and the reason I make people go through these steps is I don't want to do a call-in show all day of dummies. I don't want to do that. If somebody really wants to talk to me, they're going to have to jump through a couple of hoops, and I want to make sure that they really want to have a discussion. So that's why we've never made it like super easy for people to call into the show. You've got to be willing to take some time to make the effort. I don't want to just spend all this time preparing a show and then never talk about anything we covered because I have to talk about what a tariff is to some fucking dipshit from Ohio every day. Let me see if there's anything else here. Yeah, one more. Let's see. This is it Kirsten Walker? I can't remember her name. I want to say she had Lindsey Graham on, and you can go back anywhere. You can see Lindsey Graham has completely flip-flopped on this. But one last thing about this DNI report put out by Tulsi Gabbard about the ICA report. When it came out the first time, Lindsey Graham was all on board saying that he agreed with the ICA report. He mocked Republicans who bought the bullshit Trump was selling him that Russia didn't interfere. And now here he is years later having to walk back everything he ever said because Trump told him to.
Wasn't involved. What the hell happened? Let's get a special counsel.
Hold on, Senator. As you know, former President Obama has weighed in through a spokesperson. He says that's just patently false. I actually spoke to Susan Miller, who's a former senior CIA officer who helped oversee the 2017 intelligence assessment on Russian interference. She says it's completely false that Obama...
Sorry, Eli. Sorry. You're not one of the dipshits from Ohio. I'm sorry.
Or anyone else asked them to change or sway their investigation. She says they all, she says, and she's a Republican, says they all would have quit if that had happened. Senator, are you trying to rewrite history to distract from the Epstein matter, Senator?
No, I'm trying to let you know and the media know that we found something we didn't know before.
You had that report since 2020. You've had it. 2018 maybe. Was it 2018 or 2020? You've had this for a long time. This isn't new. None of this is new. This was a Republican report on the ICA report. So not only did you have the ICA report, you also had this Republican interpretation of the ICA report, which is what we're talking about. You had that all along, Lindsey Graham. They're lying. There's no new information here. I read the ICA report at the beginning. The conclusion of the ICA report is that they handled this correctly, that they handled the intel correctly, that they followed proper procedures. The only disconnect is that there are some people who believe that Putin didn't prefer Trump, and there's a quote in there that they think could have been interpreted differently. That's the entire argument between the ICA report. Let me read some comments and we'll get out of here. Danny, thanks for the super chat. I did that one. Canyon Sky, thank you for the super chat. Lee, thank you as well. And Jesse. Let me get a couple last minute ones. We'll get out of here. I think Tina said happy Monday. Thank you, Tina. And Susan for the goal. James said happy Monday. Jen said free Palestine and release the files. And Terry said Dollar Train. We did clear out that gift goal. So, guys, I appreciate it. Thank you so much for doing that. Make sure I didn't miss any on Jen's side. I did not. All right, everybody. We'll be back tomorrow morning and every weekday morning, 9:30 to 1 Pacific Standard Time. Here,
No, you did.
What? What?
You missed parents.
Oh, yeah, I did. Thank you. To the older millennial, just comply. And just comply and you'll stay dry. I might have missed Elena Pulowski, too. All right. Awesome. I'm trying to take the high road. I'm trying so hard. All right. Guys, we'll be back tomorrow and every weekday morning, 9:30 a.m. to 1 Pacific Standard Time. Jen, will you mute? Because I'm getting some feedback in my headphones. And then just a reminder, I don't know if Jen knows this. I will not be here Friday. So no Friendly Friday this week. Will be Monday through Thursday, and then I'll be back next Monday. But no Friday show this week. I'll be on the road. You can catch the replays of this on YouTube. And I think maybe TikTok now saves the replays as well. And like Jen said, if you want to watch the replays and you don't have YouTube Premium, a little hack for you. On Spotify, we post the replays, and it's video and audio. But if you don't have YouTube Premium, you know that you have to like keep the app open or it turns off. On Spotify, because you're listening to it as a podcast, you can lock your screen and you can still listen to it. So if there's anybody, I know there's some of you who have complained that you have to keep your phone open. You can do that on Spotify, but you can also watch the video replay on Spotify as well. So you can turn off the video or keep it on. It's available for you. Make sure you're subscribed over there. There's merch in the bio. I'm going to update some merch this week and do some new hoodies. So look for that. Jen, did I miss anything?
Probably, but nothing I can think of.
All right, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow morning, bright and early, 9:30 Pacific Standard Time. Until then, take care of yourselves, stay cute and cool, and have a great summer.